Hello, true believers. This is BebotsOnly, and it's a cloudy day this morning. It's raining, and I have a pretty crude setup right here. This is my light, and the camera I'm using is actually a hand-me-down from Hero, so I don't have a camera. And this laptop I'm actually using is it's his hand-me-down also. He's using another setup right now, a desktop, but I commandeered this one. So if you want to, it's so this is today's Yahoo in the Philippines, I think. Face masks required. I seem to have to go through this process of kind of what's the of proving that that this video is current. So here's today's Yahoo. You could look it up. I think this one's here for the Philippines. But anyway, back to what I have in hand here. This is I have tons and tons and tons of paperwork, tons and tons of details, but all of it just kind of is summarized by these three documents over here. They're like, depends on which ones. I think the largest one is maybe like 30 pages, 20 pages, 10 pages. So sorry for the camera, but we're just gonna have to deal with it for now until I can get my camera set up, which is another long process in itself. I'll get to it, and like all the other details, I'll try to vlog every day, but it's gonna be Christmas around the corner. I have to spend a lot of time with Hero and family. So, but I'll do my best. And right now, I want to put everybody's mind at ease about what happened. I was gonna wait and let it kind of sit for a while, but I think it'd be best to kind of reassure everybody in everybody's mind what the results are. I mean, it's kind of obvious that I'm blogging about it right now, but let me confirm. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. Sometimes I get lost for words and I start trying to figure out the right word. So I I just want to say, for example, let's just kind of dive into the documents over here. So why are there three? Well, the question that everybody's asking is, what is the charges, the sentences? So let's get right to it. So I don't know how the macro is over here, but this is, and I blocked out the. I think there's a rule I have to confirm. I that you have to, when it comes to criminal cases, you have to block out any information when it comes to leading to the identities of the innocent people. So that's why I have it like this. But anyway, let's get to the. So this document over here is from the Department of Justice, as you can see in black and white, the Department of Justice. And then the next is the list of officers. And then, I blocked out the docket number. But what you want to focus on over here is this one, Republic Act number 9208, which is what the charges are as amended of 10364. Now, for the layperson, these numbers mean nothing, but what they actually mean is this is for human trafficking. And some specifics you should know about human trafficking here in the Philippines. It's a non-bailable offense. I repeat, there's like a list of offenses there's no bail for, and that's the challenging, difficult part. And you would say the most difficult part about being non-bailable, most trials over here last anywhere between 3 to 10 years, depending on how many. And as you can see, I have three documents over here. And so let's just focus on the first one over here from the Department of Justice. I repeat, from the Department of Justice. And the charges are here: human trafficking. I repeat, human trafficking, which is a non-bailable offense, which means you can't get out of jail for this one. And here is this is the resolution of that case, of that offense. And it's written in here what the results are. Resolution number one: Next is the Republic of the Philippines 4th Judicial Region Family Court. Took out the branch in Calamba City. Okay, so we got here the people of the Philippines criminal case. I plotted out, but is what you want to focus on over here is the charges over here, 9208, which is again human trafficking. Now I know what you're thinking, that you're saying that, oh wait a second, and it's the same. If you look at the list, it's the same people, it's the same police, it's the same parties involved, but this one is in a different branch now. This is a family court in Calamba City, which is, as you can see in black and white, human trafficking again, 9208. So the first thing you're saying is like, wait a second, isn't that considered double jeopardy? A double jeopardy is kind of an American term, a Western term, an English term. And I always kind of said that there's just some things that you can't apply here in the Philippines, and one of them is double jeopardy. And not only is it double jeopardy, so over here we got the, oh, by the way, so let's say it's the resolution. Okay, so this is resolution. So this summarizes the last 3 years that's been going on, and this is the result, the resolution. Okay, next is another court for the people of the Philippines, and this one is in Batangas. I repeat, regional trial court, and a different court, different branch, a different judge. I repeat, this is the third judge, and oops. Well, this is the order. Well, let me actually, this one is kind of long and complicated because there were three crimes or 3 charges. Okay, so here we go again. So this is a different court, but this one is, this paperwork shows that same thing over here, 9208. You could probably look it up, 4A, 6A, 9208. Same thing, 9208. Human trafficking again. I repeat, human trafficking, that's what 9208 stands for. You can look it up yourself. I could look it up right now, but it's, the point here is 9208, and which is a non-bailable offense. You can't get out of jail while the process during the 3 to 10 years that this is occurring. Okay, and the next accusation here is rape, which is also a non-bailable offense. Rape. Like I said, I have all the paperwork, I have all the documents, I have all the evidence, I have all the transcripts. I can even probably give you a sample of it. Maybe I will, maybe I won't, but I mean, that's going to be for another video. And anyway, I was just thinking about but this video is already running long. So rape, another non-bailable offense. And then here's a third one. It's kind of, I think it's cybercrime. So cybercrime is under an umbrella of different categories, which I'm not going to get into right now. So, but I just wanted to let you know that there's 3 over here. There's 3 offenses, 9208, pretty heavy, rape, pretty heavy, and another one, cybercrime, pretty heavy. Okay, and as you can see, if you look over here, if you look at this paper here, I have the order. Okay, this is the order of the court, so pretty much summarizes what happened in the hearings, trials, all the evidence. So the order is here, and you could pretty much probably guess, since I'm vlogging, that what the order is. So I was actually going to do a Gundam review, but I just noticed that this video has gone long enough, so it's going to be a video on its own. So my next video will be reviewing this, a bootleg Gundam. So I think I will title this Triple Jeopardy, and upcoming is bootleg Gundams. So Triple Jeopardy in the Philippines, and I will kind of touch upon the reasons why there was three uh, triple jeopardy. The reason why is the police is the situation over here, and it's pretty heavy. It's pretty complicated. It's ongoing right now, and I'm not sure what the hell to do about it. And you'll see why. I mean, the Philippines is known for its corruption, and corruption, you might as well say lazy. People are lazy. That's the number one reason why they're corrupt. Instead of doing it the right way, they do it the wrong way, because there's nothing harder than doing it the right way. And you're saying, well, wait a second, BebotsOnly. What do you mean the corruption and the hard way? And because they filed, the same police officers filed not only one, not only two, but three cases, or even three different branches. That means they're 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 doing their jobs, and they're not being lazy because it's three different places. Yes, initially that's what you would think, and that's the biggest problem when it comes to the Philippines, is the perception of people is completely all wrong. It reminds me of when I would ask the question. I know I asked this question in nauseum when people first discover my blogs, and I ask them the question. Okay, here's a simple question. This is a no-brainer. Everybody here in the Philippines knows exactly the answer. And the question I always ask was, there's two types of bars over here in the Philippines. Bars meaning there's bar girls. Okay, meaning there's prostitutes. One caters to the foreigners, and one caters to the locals. Okay, so for the people that haven't heard this question, that's the question. There's two kinds of bars, places of establishments where you can get prostitutes or bar girls. One is catered to locals, one is catered to foreigners. Usually you don't see the places where the foreigners go, where the locals go. And where the locals go, you're not going to see that many foreigners. And the question I always ask is, which one is more expensive? And the answer is always wrong, because everybody always picks, oh, the foreigner places is more expensive because they think that foreigners have more money than the locals. And what they don't keep in mind, or they don't keep the factor that there's rich Filipinos that are richer than foreigners that are got their money from, which we're not going to get into, but they have a lot of money. And the answer always is, I haven't had a discussion with a person from Mexico a long time ago, and he said, I asked him the question. He goes, easily, the locals, the Mexicans, they're way more expensive than the foreigners. And we said, foreigners, when they pay for sex, how much? In Mexico or here in the Philippines, $20. Okay, $20 you can get laid here in the Philippines. Now, is that more expensive? Absolutely not. Right? $20, and that's how much foreigners pay, because they're just paying for sex. What the locals do is they don't need to pay for sex. So what are they paying for? Okay, which is, in discussion I always say this, but like I said, I'm just doing this for the people that don't know. And the answer is, what they're paying for is quality. Same thing when you go out to a restaurant. You buy, you select items in the menu that you can't get at home, or you can't cook at home. Anyway, that's what I do, and that's what the Filipinos are doing. And when they're going to these places, is they're paying for quality. And then the next question that you should be asking, if you have any powers of deduction at all, is, well, how much is the quality? And the obvious answer is, well, that depends on the quality. Duh. Anyway, so this has become a serious police matter. Why they filed in these three different places, same parties involved, same police, same charges, and of course this one has more. And the reason why is going to shock you. I'll touch up on it right now, but like I said, I'm gonna finish up this video pretty soon. That it's they had two incentives. One is job security incentive, and the second one is financial incentive. And and then you're saying, okay, job security incentive, okay, you can kind of deduce your way out of that one. But the financial incentive, they're like going, financial incentive, okay, well, where's the financial incentive? And it's gonna shock you. It's gonna shock you where the financial incentive came from, because right now as I speak, if you're watching this video, you know exactly where the financial incentive came from. And if you sit here and say, wait a second, I know I just watched this video and you're telling me the police got paid, and I know who the person is that they got paid from, and the answer is yes. and and the answer is simple. It's like a magic trick. It looks like the lady was sawed in half or cut in half or stabbed through, but the answer is no. It was so the illusion is simple. So, okay, I know the person, but why, how did they do it is the gimmick when it comes to magic and illusions. The answers are always simple when it comes to the Philippines. We always know the answer. And that's why I always answer questions with another question, because you know the answer to all the questions. The problem is just accepting or bridging together the two realities. And there's nothing harder than the truth and the reality, because I've said here in the Philippines that truth is in no way it's detrimental to survival. So when people here are living day to day just trying to survive, the truth is the first victim over here. And that's what I kind of try to bring here, is the truth and the reality for people that wish to accept it. But anyway, this has gone long enough. I just wanted to give everybody a preview or a taste of what's coming up. We'll just have to wait for this later bootleg Gundams. I had a lot of time, and I actually worked on a lot of Gundams during this time, and I put this together, so give you a preview of what it looks like. Let me open this thing. Son of a gun. Open. Trying to get this all in one shot. So this was actually my favorite Gundam, so this is what he looks like, so you get a preview. Look how beautiful he looks. So we'll do that later another time, but this is probably, I want to put everybody's mind at ease that the hard part is over, but there's a lot more challenges. No way am I saying that it's over. It's just begun. But I want to let at least everybody know which direction it's gonna go, because at a time it's scary, and we're gonna use terms like reclusion perpetua in the Philippines, which means 40 years with no parole or no pardon. And this is what the penalties are for what's considered heinous crimes. And it was touch and go. And but I will go through that over time. But right now, I just want to let everybody know, everybody relax, what the results are. They're all right here. How much I'm going to share, I haven't decided yet, but at least the results are something we could all relax and exhale and be able to just, like I said, we're not even halfway done. But back to what I was saying, why in 3 different places the job security incentive and the financial incentive was what caused it. And you will never guess where the financial incentive came from, to make sure that I had 3 different places that I had to fight to regain my innocence and my freedom. Anyway, I know you have a lot of questions. We will all get to them, but this is just kind of an appetizer. So leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe. This is BebotsOnly. Thank you for watching. Okay, true believers, this is what I had for breakfast this morning. Cream cheese, local cream cheese, and strawberry jam. Smuckers. Now, it's not Philly cream cheese, but it's good enough. That's what I'm having for breakfast this morning. So I wanted to show you everyone what I'm doing right now before I get started on the next vlog. Hello, true believers. This is BebotsOnly doing another vlog, and I said I promised I would read one of the resolutions to involving my cases, and here's one. Here it is. So I'm gonna read it today. Resolution. Okay, that's from this one case. I have several cases, but with three different judges with different cases within each judge. So we're going to focus on this one. Okay, and as usual, I'm using a cell phone, which doesn't have optical image stabilization, doesn't have 4K or anything like that. I would love to get something that has has a long memory, has good stabilization, and has good nighttime capabilities, so I can vlog when the light is low or at night, so I don't have to worry about, can you see this, can you. So those are the things on my wish list when it comes to cameras. I still have I would like to get my Canon back, but that's another issue. Another time. I want to stick to the resolution. I've been I didn't get a chance to vlog yesterday because the weekends is when I catch up with the kids. During the week, it's a mess. They're online classes. We're up until midnight almost every night to finish their quizzes, projects, all their homework. It's a mess. It's like I'm going to school all over again. And for some of these subjects, I'm okay, but there's some of the subjects I'm struggling with. You have to imagine it's been, I went to high school in the 80s and college in the 90s. And in the 80s and 90s, computers weren't mainstream yet. They didn't exist. So right now, fast forward, you're talking about this is the 20s now. 30 years later, so much technology, every 2 years technology becomes obsolete. So imagine 30 years later, that's times 15, all my information has become obsolete. And they have this subject called STEM: science, technology, engineering, and math. And one of the subjects they cover is using Excel. And I know Excel, I've seen the spreadsheets, and I think it was back when I was in high school. I think it was called Lotus or something like that. And we were using those green screens that they use in the Matrix. So that's how outdated I am. When I do my accounting, I just go to an accountant because my business was not complicated, but I didn't want it to be screwed up. So I just pay an accountant to deal with it. So that's fine. But if I just had a simple W-2 form, then I could do the accounting myself. But since when you have your own business, it's better to have an accountant do all that and have them make sure all the expenses, all the T's are crossed and I's are dotted. So the point I was making is I didn't get a chance to vlog yesterday because I've been trying to keep up. I use the weekends to catch up with the kids, and especially with Hero and his football. And if you could see from the video, because of the last 10 months, he hasn't been able, there has been no training, no scrimmages, no football. And but the problem is he was so active, and his appetite was still high. He has this increased voracious appetite because he's a teen now. His first years as a teen, so he's doing a lot of growing and a lot of hormones, and then so that requires a lot of calories. And on top of that, he was very active. Then all of a sudden, 10 months, it stopped. So, but his appetite continued. It's like pregnant women. They just keep eating, and even after they're not pregnant anymore, they keep eating, which is what happens to a lot of Mexicans after they get pregnant. They just blow up. And now people are gonna say, "Oh, you're so racist against Mexicans." Well, I actually didn't make that up. I heard other Mexicans saying it, but then you say, "Oh, well, it's okay for Mexicans to make fun of other Mexicans, but you're not Mexican." So, well, I was with them with so long, and I lived with their culture. I mean, that's something you deal with in kind of South Central or East East Los Angeles, where I did a lot of my preliminary work.
and I and one of our staff, our administrative staff, uh, told said I asked her, hey, am I racist? I said I told her I think I'm racist, and she said, you think? And she was she was saying I'm so racist, and I told her her name was Paula. Of course, she's not really Mexican, but she speaks Mexican. That's how I always told her. Well, you're not. She goes, I'm not Mexican. Well, you speak Mexican, so I told her. So that's why I thought you were Mexican. That was like me being racist. Obviously, I knew when I'm racist, I know I'm being racist. So at that point, I was just outright being racist just to get a rise out of her. And she goes, I'm not Mexican. I forgot where she was. She's more south where they speak Mexican also. And those people don't like Mexicans, is the funny part. So I was watching this one TV show with Pablo Escobar, and he's gosh, better not mess it up. Anyway, he's not from Mexico, and he was talking about his hippopotamus, and the Mexican cartel person asked, "Does your hippos eat Mexicans?" And he says, "No, even he doesn't like Mexicans." So it was, but anyway, I'm not being racist over here. It's just something. So back to, so he's out of shape. So during the week we can't really exercise. So it's fine. We could exercise on our own. So but now that because online classes has started, it's a lot of work. I wish they were back in class in real class so I can have more time to vlog, but I can't. So it's during the week I'm kind of on call for what he needs, especially for math and science. So last night I felt pretty impotent or in deficient or insufficient because I have very minimal experience when it comes to Excel. So I know about it. I know accountants use it, like the priests use Bibles, but I my field had no my time and my field and that use of technology. But it's pretty automated, so he pretty knew what he was going. I was just there for emotional support. But when it comes to other traditional subjects like algebra, science, I'm pretty good at it. Or I could still hang. Anyway, so I said I was gonna read one of the resolutions. Here it is. So before we get into it, let me explain some terminology to kind of get everybody caught up. So when you're dealing with legal issues, one of the options a defendant has is called a demurrer. Okay, it's spelled Demurrer. Before this happened, I had no idea what that term was. I mean, I watch a lot of legal eagle TV shows and movies, and I like my court drama as much as the next person. I'm not really an Ally McBeal person. I'm kind of like more of a Denny Crane, Boston legal, LA law kind of when I was growing up, that kind of genre. So I, but Ally McBeal was more for like women, but so I was more. I looked at LA law. I enjoyed LA law and Boston legal kind of more. So that term demure, I never heard of it until now. So it was coming close to the prosecution was going to rest their case after like a year and a half of hearings and evidence and all that court proceedings and trials. After a year and a half, okay, a year and a half of my life going into this, the prosecution finally rested their case, and we were at a point where we needed to make a decision. What do we do now? What do we do as a defense? And I was talking to my second attorney, not my previous attorney, but my second one, because the first one had to fire himself for unethical reasons, which I went into. I had to make a decision, or we had to make a decision. I kind of consulted them, but I knew that I said I can't take the stand. I told my attorney that there's no way if I get up there and start talking, I'm just going to crucify myself. I mean, just the way, just the culture over here. I'll give you why. You're probably asking. Well, I'll give you an example. They have this they have this TV show over here or game show over here. It's so this is something about the culture. Okay, the name of the game show. I'm not making this up. You can even Google it just to confirm that I'm not lying about this. It's called "Don't English Me." Maybe I should do a whole subject on it. It's called "Don't English Me." Okay, now it's in English, so it's kind of ironic in there that it's saying "Don't English me," and it's saying it in English. So if you say in Tagalog, "Wag kang mag-English sa akin," that's like "Don't English me," but you're saying it in English. You're "Don't English me." It's telling you not to speak to me in English because over here, when you speak to somebody in English and they're they're Tagalog, obviously, and you speak to them, it's like insulting them because the major problem when you speak to somebody in English, number one, will have. I'm not saying they won't understand it, but they might have problems understanding it, which creates insecurity for someone for them to you're putting me in a position where I'm feeling insecure because you're using English, which I may or may not be comfortable with. Okay, and or you what happens if your English is better than that person? You're still causing a insecure situation where it doesn't benefit you or it doesn't benefit your conversation or it doesn't benefit your cause. So when they say "don't English me," it's like the same way of saying "don't insult me" by using English. And that's happened to me several times. If you talk to somebody that you really don't know, then all of a sudden you start talking English to them. They ask you a question, and I've done it before where like I didn't know I was responding in English, and then they go, "Oh, they say, oh, you're responding to me in English, like you're some kind of big deal, like you're some kind of hot shit," and for me, that's not what I'm. Sometimes that's just the natural way I respond to things. When I'm in my natural state of mind, I usually think and I dream in English. There was one time that I was dreaming in Spanish, but I knew I was consciously dreaming that I was speaking in Spanish. But for me, my natural state, since I grew up speaking English, once I'm in a situation where I'm not really conscious about speaking in Tagalog, I'll inadvertently speak in English, and that upsets a lot of people. So that's already another thing. If I sit there and I start talking, and then people will see how, oh, well, this his English is smoother than mine, that could work against me. And then it's just there is just at this point when a crime being accused against you is so heavy, there's nothing really you could say that will help you. Okay, if anything, it'll hurt you. I could go on and I start talking and I start talking and I start talking about things that people will go that could they could interpret that based on their insecurity. So it's gonna hurt me. I'm not saying people are gonna be insecure. I'm not saying, but I didn't want to open it up to that possibility. And I said, I'm gonna have to take the fifth on this one. I said, I can't go up there and start explaining things that they won't understand. Okay, because I'm coming from a different culture. I'm coming from a different background also that I am that I'm going to be trying to explain, and people, if they don't understand it, which they won't, they're going to interpret it the wrong way. So that's always been the biggest confusion or biggest struggle here, because we have two opposing cultures. There's the culture that I was born with, the culture that I grew up with, and then, which are two different cultures, and the culture that I have to deal with now that I'm at an age where I am at the crossroads where I'm combining the best and in experiencing the worst of both cultures, and I'm trying to find a happy medium, which is not going to be in a in in a court of law is not something you want to be in the middle of trying to figure out, because you're gonna I'm just gonna give myself enough rope to just hang myself on that. So I told my attorney, there's just, it's a bad idea, it's a horrible idea to for me to defend. And I said, well, you have no, do you have any witnesses? And I said, no, I have no witnesses to put up there, for my defense. Who the hell am I going to use as a witness for my defense other than me? So that's where we went to it says, okay, well then we have no choice but to file a demurrer. And I said, a demurrer? Wow, that sounds serious. I've never heard of it. Demurrer. It sounds heavy. Can you explain it to me? He says the demurrer. So let's go to. I actually have it pulled up over here. If you look at Google, you Google it. It says here, demurrer. What does demurrer mean in legal terms? This is the lay person's explanation here. It says here a defense asserting, so a defense asserting that even if all factual allegations in a complaint are true, they're sufficient to establish a valid cause of are insufficient to establish a valid cause of action. I think if we go to, I think Wikipedia, where is Wikipedia? Wikipedia, where are you? Oh, Wikipedia. Hold on, let me pull up Wikipedia. Here we go, good old Wikipedia. I know that people are saying that that Wikipedia has a lot of mistakes or errors, but I mean, we're just using this as a reference, okay, as a basis that everybody can relate to, that everybody's familiar with. So I'm using a reference over here that people can is reliable. So here's the important takeaway over here is that a demurrer is a pleading in a lawsuit, or in my case, in a criminal case, that objects or challenges a pleading filed by an opposing party. The word demurrer means to object. A demurrer is the document that makes the objection. Okay, so the document, which I actually have over here, which we'll go into. Lawyers informally define a demurrer as a defendant saying, so what, to the pleading. So it's almost like saying, yeah, that's it. So what? And it's like, you did all that for like a year and a half. You dragged me through the dirt, me and my family, as collateral damage through all that. All right. So what? Okay. So the problem, like I said, is I mean, this is a capital crime over here. We're talking about reclusion perpetual, which means you have to spend 40 years period. There's no probation. There's no early work or early good behavior release. You're not, because like I said, you could kidnap, homicide, all those other things, and if you and you could still qualify for all those early releases, like with Pemberton. So he murdered somebody. Pemberton was an example, but I think he pleaded instead of from murder, from capital offense, to murder, or I mean to homicide, to temporary. I think temporary insanity. So he got it to like, yeah, some so to a lesser extent. So he got like 15 years, and he was able to get it since he qualifies for a good behavior release. He is able to get out after 5 years and serve the sentence, and he's a free person after killing for killing a person. Versus me, on the other hand, I haven't killed anybody, but they're saying that I have committed such a capital offense that there's no way I'm ever going to get out of jail for the next 40 years. I don't even qualify for bail. That's the crime is so heinous. Okay. And here I am saying, okay, this crime is so heavy. You guys threw all the, you guys raided my house, took all the evidence. That's why I have like a picture of Chai over here. That's part of their evidence. You got everything you need. You got the complainants, over here you got everything, you got private complaints testifying, you went through my house already and got everything, all my digital devices, and then here it is, finally threw it all at the judge for them to decide. And then I mean, as part of your prosecution, and here we are saying in the Demurrer, so what? Okay, this is so. I already explained why we did that, because number one, I didn't want to take the stand because it was just going to hurt me more than it would help me. I would have to take the fifth. Is the obvious decision. I think everybody would agree to this. And because I could go on and talk for like 8, 10 hours, and like everybody, it's like my what I'm gonna be saying is gonna be like a poem, and a poem means nothing unless somebody interprets it, and the interpretation is gonna be there's gonna be enough there for me to talk about that the interpretation is going to go against me. So I decided that there's no way I was going to do that. So, and then what about witnesses or any evidence? What evidence am I going to present? What witnesses am I going to use? What am I going to, what am I going to use? My teachers back in college, or even that? Some people they have used like people from their school saying that, oh, I went to school with that person, and then that person is, so they had to get somebody from school saying, yeah, that person went to school, they were together, but I have no, what their relationship was. That person would didn't know. They just, it was somebody's case that I knew about, and that's what was one of their witnesses, was somebody from school, just to say that they know each other, but what their nature of the relationship was, we don't know. It was weak, but they were trying. That's what they were trying to establish. That was their defense. Anyway, my problem was I had no defense. So all we had to do was say, so what? Okay, after you said all that, after you accused all that, we didn't even say that they're all lying. What they all said was all lies. We didn't even say any of that. We were just so when you demur, you're just accepting like, yep, we are not contesting anything they said. We're not going to even go on the stand and say no, they lied. That's not what happened. Period. Just to say that like, no, none of that is true. We didn't even say that. We just said, by saying no defense, by going to the mirror, they're like, yes, everything you say, we are not going to challenge. We're not saying that it's true, but we're not saying it's a lie. So of course, if since this is the court of law, they're gonna say, well, if there's nobody there to challenge what they're saying, then we'll just have accepted as true or fact, because there's no, in this situation, there's no your word against mine. It's just your word, and I didn't go up to the stand, or we didn't put up any defense to say that my word now is your word against mine. It's just your word only. So it's risky, as you could see. Now, what are the risks versus rewards? So so I already explained why we had to do that, because we had no defense. Okay, so we just had, and then why did you want to do a demure? Why did you do a demure then? So, well, that's, so what's the benefit? Well, it's just to end. So it was the quickest way to end the trial. Okay, so that's what we were just going after, because this judge, we already filed for a motion for inhibition, and he denied it. He's saying, yeah, your motion to inhibit me, I deny this motion to excuse myself from this proceeding, is what he said. So your motion to inhibition is denied. So we wanted just to end this trial with this lawyer, because we already made the argument in black and white that this lawyer was biased against me, and I didn't want him to decide over the case, but there was nothing we could do to stop it. So we wanted to end this, and we wanted to appeal to the next higher court. It was our strategy, since this one was already doomed from the very beginning, as you could see from black and white. And there's one thing I wanted to say about black and white. I've noticed that for the last, I don't know, few days or weeks that there hasn't been that many trolls for me to feed. So I've been pointing this out in the recent vlogs that usually the trolls are my biggest committed, attentive viewers, and I haven't been really seeing their views, let alone their comments. So, and I think my theory, this is one of my theories, and let me know in the comments, which really hasn't been much, whether we agree with this theory or not, or whether I'm right or wrong, that I I think the trolls are, or my theory is that for the last 3 years, the trolls have been having this fun on my on my account. Of course, it's so easy to say whatever you want about me, and I can't respond. And here I am, finally. It's so easy to kick somebody when they're down, and then finally, when I have a voice now, when I have my own platform now to tell my side of the story, which is backed up in black and white, all of a sudden, as you can notice, people are not interested in it, or they don't want to hear the truth, or they don't want to see the black and white evidence to support my side of the story. I mean, because there's multiple sides of the stories, and there's obviously the truth. And what I do is I back up my side of the story with black and white, which is the truth. And the problem with a lot of trolls, that are a-holes, and a lot of, let's just say a-holes, assholes. The problem with assholes is you shine a light on them with the truth and they scurry away. And that's what I say is happening over here is the assholes, the roaches. You shine, all of a sudden I shine the light on them with the truth and they scurry away. They're not interested in the truth. They want to keep believing what they're believing, even if it's a lie. Even if just as long, because the perception, especially that I would be innocent of any of these crimes, that they would like to think that helps them sleep at night because they're assholes. And then it's like, oh, assholes, it's only you're an asshole yourself. Well, I know when I'm being an asshole, so I'm conscious about it. So whether I'm doing it on purpose. So that means I could turn it on and off at any time. But these assholes that don't even know that they're being assholes, and then you shine a light on them, that's becomes an issue, and then what is their issue, why they're an asshole? I mean, what was it in their upbringing, what is it in their environment? Usually assholes are just products of their environment. Why are they insecure? Do they have weak personalities? Did they not get enough attention from their dad? I mean, I got no attention from my dad, and I'm fine. I mean, are they cowards? I mean, I mean, I've had comments, not a lot of comments, as you can see, but I've had comments. It's like, why are you vlogging again? Are you worried? Are you afraid? Of course I'm worried. Of course I'm afraid. But that doesn't mean that we let our worries and our fears dictate what we need to do, what needs to be done. And right now, what needs to be done is I need to clear my name. Not for trolls, not one for myself, for my family, for the people, for my friends, for our community, for our believers that are important to me. Not the trolls. The trolls are good for me, for they give me fodder. They give me not father, but fodder, or not saying inspiration, but source material. They're a great source for making content, or for so they kind of give me a direction which way I want to go with the vlog. And it's, of course, if I don't have troll fodder to as source, I have plenty of sources, but it's a nice source to have for making content. And for the for their, some of them are not completely ignorant or idiots. So, there are some trolls that have, where they're kind of like Paul or Saul, where they're just ignorant and you could educate them. But then there's people that are just stupid, and how does the saying go, or the cliche go? There's no solution or treatment or cure for stupid. I mean, at this day and age, it's not a good idea. I mean, you're lucky if you're in a welfare communist country where you could be stupid and they'll support you because they like a country full of stupid, ignorant people, and they keep them that way under control, which is fine. But if you're a person that wants to know the truth, then you're in the right place, especially when it comes to culture, when it comes to the realities, especially of here in the Philippines, because that's what I share, and these are the real experiences. So let's get back to the. So that went on. That rant went on for about why there's hardly any trolls or any views from trolls. As you can see, most of my views are from trolls because they're afraid of the truth. They don't want the truth, and that's what I that because you can't argue with something that says black and white, especially in the court of law. I mean, these are what I'm presenting as official court documents, okay, versus rumors and innuendos that anyone can post anonymously. So the decision was to motion for Demurrer to evidence. Okay, now this is the problem. So the upside is it we're just giving it to the judge. It says it's your decision now to end this quickly. Okay, so that's the positive part is that this. I'm gonna put this back instead of Wikipedia. Let's go back to Vendetta over here. So I've got a big, huge to-do list over here. There's so many things to do around the house. There's so many things to do around with the kids and their school. There's so many, and I have. I'm gonna try to support three channels. The old Revolution channel, which I'm trying to maintain. I'm trying to grow this one, and I'm trying to make a new one with the Vendetta football. I will put up a link once I put up more content on there. Like right now, I'm struggling just to put up content in this one. So, I mean, this is all out of my free time. This is not my job. I don't get paid for this. Like every other vlogger gets paid for it. They're monetized. They've got thousands of subscribers already. They got thousands of view hours. Me, I've only got like 500 view hours and look like 80 something subscribers. So this is all out of my free time. Okay, so everybody say, oh, BebotsOnly, thank you for taking so much out of your time to. Well, I do it for so I can clear my name with it. And I don't have to do it publicly, but this is probably the most efficient way of getting as many people up to date on my situation and sharing my experiences. So back to what I was saying, so this is all done out of charity over here. So thank you very much. And you should be appreciative and thankful. You got these overprivileged a-holes that make their comments. I know what are you entitled to anyway? They want this, they want that, and what, because you're overprivileged and you're entitled to all the answers. I mean, I give you what I give you, and you should be thankful for it. And I share with you what I share with you, and you should be thankful for it. It didn't cost you anything. I didn't ask you for anything for it. And if and I'll say thank you for your time, thank you for your comment, but that's it. But other than that, I don't ask you for anything else, and you shouldn't be asking because I am not entitled to anything else other than I have my opinion. I'll share it, and you're entitled to share and do it on share your own opinion also, and you could do it on your own channel. I'm not stopping you. Nobody's stopping you from doing it. Anyway, so that's the upside, that it finishes the case. Downside is that it could go against you because here it is. We're saying. And so they're saying prosecution rests. We're saying, yeah, defense rests also because we have nothing to say. And all we have to say is, so what? So now the judge is gonna say, this is what, okay? And this is where it gets dangerous because remember, this is the judge that we already tried to inhibit because he was obviously biased. It's up to him to decide. And I asked my attorney, I go, what happens if our motion to demurrer gets denied? It's a motion. Okay. So at first, let's say the motion to demurrer gets accepted, case closed, I get to go home, which I don't because there's 2 other pending cases against me. But anyway, if I only had this one case against me, that I get to go home. Okay, normally. But this is not a normal situation, and I could go into another 3 hours explaining why. Part of it, there's a lot of it, and part of it, or a major part of it, is the financial incentive. Let's just call it that, financial incentive. You could say money, but let's just call it financial incentive. Why they're doing, which we will get back into because I'm putting this picture together. It's a big puzzle, and slowly I'm putting the puzzle together. So, okay, so if it gets accepted, case dismissed, the story, the battle is over, but the war is still ongoing. But this battle is done, okay? And I go, oh, what happens if it gets denied? And he says, well, if it gets denied, it just means that the what mean the so what means, yeah, there's a lot of what, and they have enough that they're saying that the reason why it's denied is because you're guilty. So I have no recourse. What I said I have no recourse whatsoever. If the motion gets denied, I can't say, okay, well, since the demurrer was denied, okay, I'll go ahead and take the stand and defend myself. He said, nope, that's not going to happen. This is not a situation where if the motion gets denied, because you're not admitting guilt or not. You're just saying that so what, that they don't have enough evidence, or they don't, it's insufficient, or what they're saying is nonsense. It's just say you're just saying so what. And then, if the judge says that this is what's up, so if he says that, then the next after the motion gets denied, then you're 99.9 100%, by argument's sake. Let's just not kid ourselves with 99.99% with this 0.001% that you might that he might you might your demurrer might get denied, and then you would still be not guilty. That you would go into decision, because there's no decision yet, right? Whether guilty or not guilty. We're just saying that the motion, the demurrer is denied, and then next would be his. If it gets, like I said, if it gets accepted, dismissed, there's nothing more to say. But if it gets denied, then he goes into the propagation of justice now, because it's both sides' cases have rested, and it goes into the propagation of justice, where the judge decides if you're guilty or innocent. So that's where it got scary. So now we went into so that was the strategy. So the first thing we got to do is that we got to make the official document. We got to make it official. Here it is. Before we get to the resolution, we have to file our motion to demurrer. And then after that, the prosecution files their comment to demurrer. Okay, so over here we've got the demurrer to evidence for one case, and then the prosecution says, okay, we're going to do our job and we're going to comment to demurrer. So, I understand the police have their own attorney also working with so I assume there, and what made this complicated, because I had so much media attention. There was also a foundation. I repeat, a foundation found out about my case through TV, social media, cable, all that. I mean, I was pretty much, for 2 weeks, I was the talk of the town, and I couldn't say anything to defend myself. So pretty much whatever anyone said about me, we all had to accept it, because right now is the only way I could speak up and tell my side of the story and tell what happened. But unfortunately, the good thing is my side of the story is supported by these documents. So a foundation got involved. So these foundations, they get involved in these type of cases, especially when there's such a heinous crime we're talking about over here, like in the movie Taken with Liam Neeson. It's like, I don't know who you are, but I will find you, and I have my special skills, and if you give me back my daughter, then this will be the end of it. But if you don't, so there's 3 things over here that we have to deal with. Number 1, don't take Liam Neeson's family. Number 2, don't kill John Wick's dog. And number 3, don't mess with BebotsOnly in their community. Well, that's what I'm dealing with number 3. I'd like to think that the pen is mightier than the sword. I need to get rid of this plastic ugliness over here. I was going to do a review of whatever's in that plastic bag, but anyway, I'll do it later. I've got, so I mean, I've got a bunch of tons of paperwork over here. As you can see, it's like just all over the floor over here. All my other documents that I have to deal with. I mean, but I've got so much documents that I could fill years and years of content. So I, where was I at? So back to the mirror of evidence. I don't know why I was getting to. So because of the human trafficking. Okay, so this is pretty heavy, and if you're talking about a pretty heavy case, you need to this is not simple like somebody stealing cell phones or somebody stealing credit card or something like that. This is a capital offense over here. This is so if you're gonna have a capital offense, you're gonna need capital evidence. Okay, and here we are saying this is our demurrer to evidence. So like it says here in black and white. So clearly we had no choice but go down this direction, this demurrer to evidence. Okay, and let's just kind of read it off. As usual, I crossed off. We're dealing with innocent people, and I cross off some of the information that could lead to identities of innocent people as a formality. I mean, you guys know who the main player is over here, which is me, but I cross off anyway. So just one less, there's also one less thing to worry about. So demurred evidence in black and white. It says over here, demurred evidence. That's what we did. And let's just read it to you. Accused through the undersigned counsel and respectfully files the demurred evidence and states, opening statement, a court cannot magnify the weakness of the defense and overlook the prosecution's failure to discharge the onus probandi. What the heck is that? It's Latin. They like to use Latin. I like to use res ipsi loquitur. It cannot argue the basic legal precepts. Gosh, I need glasses here. The conviction rests upon the strength of the evidence of the prosecution and not on the weakness or even absence of the evidence of the defense. Okay, so but this is what to summarize what this opening statement is saying, that the law says that everyone is innocent until proven guilty. Okay, of course, everybody who is an a-hole, who is insecure, who's got some deep personal seated issues, thinks the opposite way around. Okay. And why? It's just human nature. It gives people something to be excited about also. They want extremes in their lives. But it's not just black and white. There are different shades of gray. And there are things that are black and white also. I think what was it that Hemi said, that the universe is simple. It is all black and white, and not so, obviously. So it's saying that everyone is innocent until proven guilty. Even the biggest problem I'm dealing with a lot of people is that they don't want to accept that. They want to believe that someone is guilty until proven innocent. Are you that person? And if you are, then you need to reflect. Why do you want to go through life thinking like that? I mean, you're not going to get far if that's the case, if that's who you are. And so what? I mean, that's just life. If some people will go far, some people will just be. And then if you are that person, then so be it. It's your life. But the rest of us want to see and believe, especially in the truth instead of these lies. So here we are. So time and again, our Supreme Court has ruled that the presumption of innocence of an accused is a substantial part of our law, founded upon a great principle of justice that cannot just be balanced out merely by conjecture or by probability, in line with the foregoing established doctrine and then further declared during a criminal prosecution, especially of cases involving the extreme. Okay. The extreme penalty, nothing but proof beyond reasonable doubt. Okay, now some people will disagree with it. It's like beyond reasonable doubt. Let's just say good enough is what people want to say. Strong enough is what people say. He was on TV. He was there. So he's guilty of something. Nothing proof but beyond reasonable doubt of every fact necessary to constitute the crime which the accused is charged must be established by the prosecution in order for the said penalty to be upheld. Verily, criminal prosecutions are not ordinary proceedings, but one coupled with stringent rules where the prosecution is given the Herculean duty of proving each and every element of the crime charged against the accused in order to obtain conviction. Okay, not just one part of the crime, not just half part of the crime, but all parts, all elements of the crime have to be proved to obtain the conviction. Okay, that's the law. That's what you cannot you cannot change it, you cannot modify it. I mean, even but the judges, they are the law is to follow it. That's what the judges are are sworn duty to do, follow the law. This bounden duty of the prosecution is in accord with the pronouncement of our High Court. It is a serious matter not only to a party, but to the state as well, to take a person from the ordinary avocations of life, brand him a felon, deprive him of liberty, appropriate his labor, and cast a cloud upon his future life, humiliate his relative and friends, and to authorize the state in doing this, there should be no reasonable doubt as to his guilt. Okay, so this is all true. You're going to humiliate somebody, you're going to humiliate their family, you're going to take away his future earnings, you're going to brand him a felon. These are all serious things, and you better be sure that there is no doubt to his guilt if you're going to be doing all these things to a person, And then if you want to do these things to a person, even though they're not guilty, why? Why do you hate a person so much like that? I don't even know you. I haven't even met you. Okay, but you hate a person that much, you hate me that much. Whatever I've done to you, did I actually kidnap your daughter, or did I actually kill your dog like John Wick? No, nothing. Everybody knows what I do every day, and this is how we do it. So let's continue. It is in line with the foregoing pronouncements of the High Court that herein accused respectively files the instant demurrer to evidence, as he honestly believes that the prosecution has failed to discharge its bounden duty to prove his guilt beyond reasonable doubt. Statement of material facts. Okay, so we're going to go into the case here. So violation RA 9208. Okay, in relation to, I think this is because using the internet. I mean, I should be, what these relationships are in terms of using the internet, and what, I'm sure somebody in the comments will look it up. Go ahead and look it up. So they're saying this is what I'm accused of. Sometime in this date, in the Philippines and within the jurisdiction of this court, the prosecution is saying that by using the computers and using the internet by means of fraud and taking an advantage of the vulnerability. So here I am taking advantage of the vulnerability of the victims for the purpose of exploitation, but under the pretext of employment, did then and there willfully and lawfully and criminally recruit, receive, obtain, offer, transport, transfer, maintain without the consent or knowledge within across national borders as prostitutes in accused online networks. So that's what I'm being accused of. Okay, so this is so in our demurrer we're saying, hold on, I gotta reset this thing because it's only got a 30-minute limit. So reset. Here we go, on again. So that's what I mean being accused of. So we need to establish that first, that I recruited girls to use them, that's online, to be as online prostitutes. Okay, and here we are saying, okay, if that's the case, then it's your job to prove it. Okay, when arraigned, I said I pleaded not guilty to that, and after the termination of the pretrial, the merits ensued. When the prosecution terminated its presentation of evidence and rested its case, defense opted for the filing of instant demurrer to evidence. Okay, so this thing failed. So we went all in. So here it is. We just tell the judge, okay, here it is. It's your decision now. The ball is in your court now. You decide based on what evidence they presented. Here we go. Here's the evidence, and what they let's go. Let's make this decision already so we can get this over with. Okay, it's been a year and a half into this, and then now we got another year and a half to go with the other cases. But and it would take another year and a half to present. Like actually, we wouldn't have much to present. It'd probably just take maybe a half a year. It's just waiting for your turn to line. Over here it's just like all waiting in line. There's nothing really you can do to grease the wheels of the court to make it go faster. Even if I did, I didn't know. Even if I had the grease, I wouldn't know where to grease it. So, which I don't. So arguments and discussion. Okay, so we're gonna establish. Okay, here's the when it comes to RA 9208, which is human trafficking. The prosecution must prove these elements over here. That so we got the active recruitment. This means it includes threat or use of force and other forms of coercion, abduction, fraud, deception, abuse of power, which abuse of power, I really can't. There's really, I'm not like a teacher or I'm not like the police. I'm not really in any authority. I'm just like a regular person. I'm just like that, whether I'm the average person or not. But I'm not in any situation or any power or authority over someone like a judge or the police or a teacher or someone in like an employer or like their boss. I'm not any of those things. I'm just like any person just like you. I just put on, and I'm not in any, I don't have any special powers or special privileges that will make that could qualify me, even me, as this as abuse of power or position, because number one, I don't have any position to abuse. So fraud, deception, abduction, that's not me. Coercion, hey, coercion, that's kind of a mixed bag of word. You know, what are the synonyms for coercion? Convincing, asking very nicely, in other forms. So I do. I mean, could you say influence? Probably, because, like I said, when it comes to Filipinas, especially Dalaga Filipina, okay, that's what we're dealing with. We're not talking about Dalanas, which are already used, washed up, that nobody wants. Okay, there's a big distinction because Dalaga Filipinas, they don't listen to anybody and nobody can tell them what to do. Okay, period. No one's gonna argue that with me. Even the stupid trolls that know anything about the Philippines will tell you, yeah, Dalagas, Filipinas, Dalagas, not Dalanas, you idiots. Make sure the distinction. Nobody, they don't listen and nobody can tell them what to do. So in terms of coercion, nobody can, they'll do whatever the hell they effing they want to do. The idea is to is just to hope, the idea is what they want is also what you want. So now, is that coercion? See, then that's interpretation now. When it comes to interpretations, then if it has to come to interpretation, then obviously the evidence or the case is weak because evidences are not left to interpretation. They're presented and they're supposed to convict you. So I was supposed to take advantage of the vulnerability of the person. What makes them vulnerable? Just because they're poor, they're here in the Philippines. So what? Everybody is poor and here in the Philippines. Does that automatically mean it's a vulnerability? No, because people survive just fine. They don't need anything. People under the bridge are the happiest as they can be. On the giving or receiving of payments or benefits to achieve the consent of a person having control over another. Like I said, nobody can control Dalaga Filipinas. Okay, prostitutes, you can control. Dalagas, you can't. There's a big difference. A Dalaga is not a prostitute, okay? So the purpose of trafficking, so that really can't apply in this situation because I don't deal with prostitutes. Everybody knows why. I mean, I can go a whole 6-7 hours. Why? There, I don't deal with prostitutes. I mean, I can go through the major bullet points. Is because you don't need me if you're looking for a prostitute. You don't need me. I mean, you you could do fine on your own, and there's plenty of people here in the Philippines that can help you with that. Way much better, much more efficient, much more. They're more cost effective. Versus me, I would just be another person. I would, if you're looking for prostitutes, I would just take you to that person who deals with prostitutes. If that's what you're looking for, then you can go to them directly because there's plenty of people there's plenty of avenues to go to them directly. So that I don't, and I already went into many reasons why I don't like prostitutes because it's not real. I mean, well, I'm not saying that they have their place. I'm not saying that they don't have their place. I'm just saying is that there's more to life. There's more to the Philippines has to offer than just prostitutes, and that's where people get really upset. Because for most people that watch the vlogs and they're about the Philippines, the prostitutes here is the end all be all, and destroying that concept, that idea that they have in mind would just destroy their world. I don't know how they'll be able to see that. I'm like, what? There's more to the Philippines than just prostitutes? Yeah, absolutely. Because because before these girls became prostitutes, they were like regular people also. And this is where I'd like to deal. That's where I come in. I like to. That's where I want. I mean, if you so to kind of explain it, I would like to interact with these people, so there would be a chance. Maybe I'll give them the choice that, like, okay, you could be a prostitute, where this is, well, we don't need to explain what the merits of becoming a prostitute in a third world country is, or you could be a regular person. You can go through school, you could finish, you can get a good job. And I've helped several girls that you can meet a good person that can help you. And they're saying, "Oh, BebotsOnly, that's like making them a prostitute just for you and your and well, that's what marriage is." Okay, so if you want to interpret it one way, marriage is another form of prostitution. But in America, unfortunately, marriage in America is prostitution without sex. There's a lot of sexless marriages in America where you pay and you pay and you pay and you don't get sex. And what a horrible deal is that? And that's where people come to me, because number one, you can't, they don't want a relationship with the prostitute. And it's like, yeah, because you should develop a relationship with that prostitute before she becomes a prostitute. What do you think of that, huh? Wow, what a novel concept. Most girls, they were normal people, dalagas, before they become prostitutes, and you're saying that it's possible to get to know them and interact with them and develop them so they don't end up as prostitutes. And that's the sad part about over here is, like, a lot in the last 3 years, a lot of development has happened, because a lot of things can happen in 3 years. 3 years is a long time. It's like, if a lot of things can happen in 1 year, a lot of things can happen in 2 years, a lot of things happen in 3 years. And one of the things that happened is, a lot of the girls that we were interacting with through our community or through me actually got pregnant. A lot of them do. I'm getting some feedback on one of them, and even one of my complainants. I actually had 5 of them, and one of them actually got pregnant. And like I said, there was the discussion is like, is it mine? Is the baby mine? And the answer is no, obviously. But the question did come up. Okay, and who is the dad? It's like, we don't know. Of course, the dad is someone who's probably young and doesn't want to be, is not ready to, is just a kid themselves. And that's probably saying, "Oh, these children that I'm abusing, that I'm trafficking, that I'm raping, these children are having children." Okay, that's just the reality. They're not children anymore. They're parents now. Okay, and then what we have now is, I have one of the girls. I was looking through her Facebook, and there's no even pictures of the dad. There's plenty of pictures of the baby, but there's no pictures of the dad. And I looked at the name of the dad. She's saying, this is because people are asking, who's the dad? Who's the dad? Right? And she's saying this person's the dad. And that person is saying he's the dad. He's saying, "I'm not the dad. It could be so and so. It could be so and so. It could be BebotsOnly." It's like, unless you do a DNA test, he's saying that it's not him. Okay, so we have to go on Maury Povich and prove that BebotsOnly, you are not the dad. Okay, so we have to go through the line. So I have to get in line also to make sure that I'm not the dad. So there's a baby here, and we haven't, unless we have DNA evidence. The dad is denying it, so it's like her word against it. Anyway, there's no pictures of the baby in his Facebook also. So we have a situation over here now that we've got a single mom. And how the hell is she going to support this baby? I mean, she didn't finish her education already. I was trying to get her in a situation where she wouldn't end up like this, And what is she doing now? She's a single mom here in the Philippines. I think she still has her looks. And what is she going to do to be able to support this baby? And maybe that's what everybody wants with the girls that we're there interacting with. So the trolls want is like, okay, we want them to become prostitutes because that's the only way we're going to have access to them is once they're prostitutes. Okay, well, how evil and how terrible is that? And that you want somebody to be a prostitute so you could have access to them. And it's like, well, we can't have access to them until they become a prostitute. Duh. I mean, that's just the reality. And then what are we supposed to do? And I go, yeah, that's true. Again, I guess if you want to have access to the girls, and then the only way for them for you to access them to being a prostitute, then of course you don't want anything to stop them from becoming a prostitute, so you could have access to them. But I'm saying, here's my argument to that: there's plenty of people prostitutes, can you just leave enough alone that, with my small group, to prevent girls from becoming prostitutes, to give them a chance, to give them a future. Even one of our who was it, Kubo Kobana, was saying, he was making some kind of comment about the girls' futures. I mean, the future, something about the future. He made a comment or a message to me, something about the future, and I didn't understand what future are you talking about? The future of the girls. Oh, if I don't intervene, or if someone like me doesn't intervene, then their future is already not set in stone, but their future is not good, especially now with this pandemic. I mean, it's even worse. It has caused a lot more people to go into this kind of work because there is such a deficiency of regular work now that it becomes more vital for them to enter this kind of field, especially prostitution. But anyway, that's not what we're dealing with here. So we're not dealing with prostitutes, and I don't treat the girls like prostitutes. Okay. Obviously, you could say that we've had the conversation that the girls are going to ask for money. Okay. And we already had this conversation before, and everybody who knows anything about the Philippines, even the stupid, ignorant ones, that people over here are so desperate for, not that desperate for money, that they'll do anything for money, even lying, scamming. And for you and me, because we come from like a Western state of mind where we have this kind of and we're kind of entitled, and we're kind of overprivileged, and it's hard to say, especially, I remember this discussion about white privilege. Does it exist? Is it a real thing? Right? And for the people in the white privilege, they're like saying, what the hell does that mean? Because people in white privilege is like people who are ignorant, don't know they're ignorant. That's part of being ignorant. That's why you're called ignorant. And then how is a person that's in white privilege going to recognize that they have this white privilege when they've been, because of their white, they were just born white? And how can you really fault them for being born white and then being born with this white privilege? So for them, it doesn't exist. As you can see by explaining that white privilege to a white person doesn't exist, even though for other people that are not white can obviously see that it's real and it exists as it's different. But I think the argument over here would be to say that for them, they don't see it as privilege, but for people who are outside looking in, they look at it as privilege. So I think it's more of a what's the word I'm looking for? Semantics. SAT word. Semantics. Okay, it is something, but whether we're using privilege or not, outside of the white world, it's looked at as privilege. But anyway, we use words as like scam, and for them, it's a way of life. It's culture. Scam is culture, and you can look at it as scam, but over here in the Philippines, they don't look at it as scam. They look at it as culture. They look at it as how they survive, how they do things. Okay, and scamming is part of the culture. And if it's part of the culture, it's not called a scam. I guess we in Western eyes and Western minds, we have to label it something for communication and for language purposes, for what it is. It's a scam. But if you look at it from non-white eyes or non-American eyes, because America is, I shouldn't say white eyes, because America is not really a country of white people. America is a country of laws. Even I'm an American. What defines a person as an American is because it's a country of laws. But back to what I was saying. But for me, as Americans, we look at it simply as a scam. But if I look at it as a Filipino, I look at it as how they survive, because these people are just surviving on a day-to-day, moment-to-moment basis. Now and how you would see it as a scam, as in the big picture, what they just kind of see is what's in front of them. Okay, this whole thing is about money. It's about how they can, for the short term. Obviously, these girls, what is their future going to be now? The girls that were involved, one of them is already, who knows what she's doing now, but she's got a hungry baby who doesn't know her dad. Yeah, I think it's a girl. I have to confirm that. We got a hungry baby who doesn't know her dad. The dad is probably her lesbian manager now, okay, or gay manager. I have a funny story about that. Like I told you about the person who was I was with in jail with human trafficking. It's a he, she got convicted also, which is tragic. But I, but he's hopeful that he has other options. And the good thing was he was only convicted of life, not reclusion perpetual, because life, I think you can get bail. So that's one of the nice things about if you don't get the capital punishment of reclusion perpetua and you got life, you could apply for bail, and while you're waiting for your appeal, you could actually be free until you get until the results of the appeal. But the problem with this situation is the bail, he has so many, the bail is so expensive that he wouldn't even be able to apply for bail because they just got life. Now whether they can apply for bail because the sentence was life instead of reclusion perpetual, it's I think somebody would have to in the somebody would more legal expertise will have to answer that more than me. But anyway, back to this Demurrer. So, what was I saying about? So now, what is the future? I don't know. Right now, let's just yeah. You know what? I don't know. I don't even know what my future is gonna be. Okay, so, but right now is getting through this vlog. So, by means of the purpose, now here you go. The purpose of trafficking now is so you do all this, the obtaining, the transportation. Now, the purpose of it is the exploitation, the prostitution of others in the forms of sexual exploitation, forced labor, services, slavery. So that's what I'm accused of. Okay, so forced sexual exploitation, forced labor. No, I didn't do any forced labor. Slavery. No, I didn't do any slavery. Or removal of organs. Definitely didn't remove any organs. So these are all the components of human trafficking. So already the argument is there okay, did you establish this? And I'm already telling you, where, what, how. And it is in the humble but firm submission of the defense that the evidence presented by the prosecution is insufficient to sustain the conviction of the accused for the offense as charged. As borne by the records of the case, the pieces of evidence and testimony in the private complaint admittedly fail to prove the elements upon. So when they did this, when they raided my house, they searched my house, they terrorized my family, especially the kids. Imagine what it was like being raided by the police and just going through your house, through all the nooks and crannies, through all our safes, through all the kids' stuff, through all their clothes. And like I said, pieces of jewelry of the boss went missing also, and they took as many things as they could. They even took like dry cleaning receipts that I had from this Korean dry cleaning store back in America. They were taking all that also. They were taking any paperwork that could say that, like, oh, this is a receipt that says that he got his dry cleaned in exchange for him prostituting these young minor girls to this Korean dry cleaner, and this is the receipt to prove it. So they're even taking that as evidence, and they and they gave it to the judge also, is the funny thing. And then it's like, okay, this receipt, why would he be doing dry cleaning? And so this must be the reason why he's getting paid in prostitution. So this is part of the benefit. If you look at it says for any kind of benefit in return. So getting your dry cleaned by Koreans is the benefit in return for prostitution, as payment for the prostitution. So even that. So as borne by the records of the case, the pieces of evidence and testimony of private complainants miserably failed to prove the elements of the offense charge. So this is kind of like our defense. So it's not really taking the witness stand, but this is the document saying, okay, this is why we're saying so what, because so this is our defense. This is our way of saying what they're lying. What they're saying has nothing to do with human trafficking. In their respective affidavits, private complainants never mentioned that they were trafficked, hired, recruited, transported, harbored, or adopted for purposes of prostitution in the forms of sexual exploitation by the accused through the use of using the internet. In fact, during the cross-examination, so-and-so testified that she was not trafficked, sexually exploited when she was offered. So these are actual documents taken from the transcript. Okay, so it says over here, transcript. So So the question is, these videos consist of you just walking around the mall and eating McDonald's, correct? Answer the complainant. Yes, sir. There are no other videos aside from those that I mentioned, correct? Yes, sir. Okay, meaning that the videos that you saw, which has the caption French fry girls, correct? Yes, sir. I don't even remember if I ever said French fries girls. I mean that was a term that was being thrown around, but I don't think I ever said French fry. I think it was something the opposition kind of created. But anyway, let's say so. So they're saying this is supposed to be a euphemism for prostitution, is French fries girls. Same thing as like how modeling could be used as a euphemism for, so yes, sir. So there's no note to the effect that you are being offered for prostitution, correct? So there's no to the effect that you're being used. So yes, sir. Now, how many videos in all were taken by the accused of you? All right. So obviously there was a lot of videos, and she said I only saw one video on YouTube. So that's the one which depicted you walking around in the mall. Correct. Yes, sir. So are there any you have no nude videos of you? None, sir. So they said no, none. I don't have any nude videos. Okay. So no videos of you getting so no videos of you offering yourself for sexual services, correct? Yes, sir. So I repeat, only videos that accused from you is that you're being in a mall with other girls, correct? Yes, sir. So emphasis applied. While testified during cross-examination, the accused would only take candid and normal photos and her videos of their friends, and she has no knowledge of what the accused did with these videos as following. So now all this is, so here's the question during the cross-exam. In all the instances when you were with the accused, that is all that the accused is doing to you. I'm referring to the taking of photos and videos of you. Yes, sir. Now these videos are normal videos usually taken when you're together with your friends, correct? Yes, sir. Okay, now in all the times when you were with the accused, you said you were given money in exchange for you just to smile whenever he takes photos and videos of you, correct? So yes, sir. This is all he requested from you. Yes, sir. So, and it is of course a normal activity to smile whenever you're taking photos, somebody taking your photos and evidence of you, correct? Yes, sir. Now these photos and videos, you do not have any real personal knowledge of what the accused is doing with them. No, I don't know what he's doing with them. So obviously, like I said, I was just vlogging with these videos. It's like what everybody does. Like, well, in the last 3 years, all of a sudden, everybody and their dog and their mother-in-law is vlogging now. So all of a sudden, it's become mainstream to vlog. But when I was doing it, you can get arrested for vlogging. Is what happened over here. So and there's some more testimonial over here. So let's go to the closing statement. So considering the foregoing of the elements, the offense charge was not proven by the prosecution beyond reasonable doubt. It is the private complainants themselves who testified that they were not trafficked and offered as prostitutes through the use of the internet by the accused. More to the point, the constitutive crime of trafficking through harboring or receipt of a person must be specifically for purpose of exploitation. In other words, establishing more presence without establishing the purpose, therefore cannot be considered as an element of trafficking. Okay, so what I'm saying here, so what this is saying here is just because like let's say a black person or a Mexican person, okay, all right, so we established that he's black and he's Mexican and he's standing in the corner of East LA or South Central East Los Angeles or South Central, and they're standing in the corner. So just the fact that those two, we automatically can convict him because he's a drug dealer. We don't have to find. So you're saying they don't have any evidence of drugs or him selling drugs. You don't have any evidence. So we're saying you don't have any evidence of him being in that corner or him being Mexican or him being black standing in the corner. What the purpose he's there for. Just because he's there doesn't mean that he's selling drugs. Okay, so that's what we're saying over here. You could be in the corner, you could be Mexican, and you don't have to be violating any laws. And that's what we're saying. You actually have to go out there and make sure that they have drugs. So closing statement, and we'll go into the counter comment to Demurrer. So over here, the counter to the Demurrer to evidence. So, in the same vein, no proof was deducted to show that the private complainants were offered by the accused online as prostitutes or any other unlawful purposes. Remember, this is not the night I was arrested. This was not the. This case was just based on the search warrant alone. Okay, remember what the police did was they give me a double whammy. Okay, so first thing they did was they entrapped me, and then after they entrapped me while I was already arrested, they and shackled and detained, they went to my house to search it. So it wasn't good enough that they could just serve the warrant, that they have to set me up also, so they have a reason to arrest me. Okay, because before that they had no reason to arrest me. So they had to create, I repeat, they had to fabricate a situation where they had a reason to arrest me now, because before all they had was a search warrant. They didn't have an arrest warrant. They could have applied for an arrest warrant, but as you can see, they have nothing to use to show the court, to show the judge for an arrest warrant. So all they could do was create a search warrant. Now, if the search warrant has nothing, comes up with nothing, then there is no reason to arrest me. So they had to make sure that they had a reason to arrest me. So they had to do the entrapment first, and then they had the search warrant, because the search warrant is not as effective if you didn't have the arrest. So there was no arrest warrant, but they created the situation to arrest. Okay, so that's how the police in this situation. There's a disclaimer again: not all police are like this. Just the bad police. How many the bad police are? That's a discussion and another point. But all the police that I have experience with, obviously this is my only experience with the police, is bad because of this. And in closing statement. So in closing statement. It is the basic rule that the conviction of the accused must rest not on the weakness of the defense, but on the strength of the prosecution. This is premised on the constitutional presumption the accused is innocent unless his guilt is proven beyond a reasonable doubt. The standard is demanded by the due process clause of the Constitution, which protects the accused from conviction except upon proof beyond a reasonable doubt of every fact necessary to complete the crime he's charged with. In any case of prosecution, conviction must rest on the proof beyond reasonable doubt, and the prosecution and blah blah blah. It to get the accused incumbity probation. He says he who asserts, not he who denies, must prove. Thus, unless the prosecution discharges the burden of proving the guilt of the accused beyond reasonable doubt, the latter need not even offer evidence. It's just saying, you know what, you got to prove your case. If you don't, we don't need to present any evidence. Where the circumstances obtaining in a case are capable of two inferences, one is which consists of presumption of innocence, while the other one may be compatible with the guilty, the court must acquit the accused because the evidence does not fulfill the test of moral certainty and therefore is insufficient to support judgment and conviction. Surmises and conjectures have no place in judicial inquiry and are especially anathema in criminal prosecution. Mere suspicion will not prove the prosecution's case in court. See, we can't go on with suspicious minds, is what this sentence is saying. Surmises, conjectures, innuendos, rumors have no place in court, have no place in the judicial, and merely anathema in a criminal prosecution. Mere suspicion is not evidence, will not prove the prosecution case in court. In closing, we wish to reiterate the presumption of innocence of an accused is a substantial part of the law founded upon the great principle of justice. Now, if you don't believe in this, you're a communist. Okay, you're a Nazi, skin-headed communist, neo-Nazi communist, if you don't believe in this. Upon the great principle, there's going to be a conjecture, a probability. And and I've seen the comments before where it's saying, you know, you're not innocent. Well, you're not innocent either. Okay, but in the court of law, everyone is presumed innocent. Okay, so if you want to take it out of court, you want to call me whatever you want, you know, that's libel, that's up to you. I mean, the owner or CEO of Rappler, I wouldn't be taking that cause and going online and accusing somebody of a crime, especially when you have no proof of it, and that's libel, but that's up to you. But if you want to do that, you know, you can go on your opinion, you know, you could say that person looks like a bar girl, you know, the person married a bar girl. Okay, you know, that's in your opinion is a bar girl. I guess you could say that. right? Is that a crime being a bar girl? I don't know, because there's lots of bar girls, and bar girls are bar girls. If bar girl is a crime, then why is that considered actually a job? So if it is actually a crime, so if you say somebody's a bar girl, then it's merely an opinion, and it's not really libel, because being a bar girl is not really a crime. But if you call them a trafficker or a pedophile, which are actually crimes, and you have no proof of it, then that's just libel. And if you say that and you go on that, you're just asking for it, just like that Rappler. You could be taken to court. So don't do anything so stupid. Okay, if you want to do something stupid, do it privately. But to do it publicly, you're just asking for it. Then, if the totality of the evidence presented by the prosecution failed to fulfill the rest of morality and indeed accused is guilty, let the ultimate judge make the righteous judgment. Can only rely upon the evidence upon them. When there is reasonable doubt, the guilt accused there must be acquittal. So there you go. So now let's go to we submitted that, and of course the prosecution says, hold on here. So what? Okay. So they said, comment of Demurrer to evidence. Okay, we'll respond to that. And I go, okay. So go ahead. So comes down to the public prosecutor in dishonorable court, and is so undersigned public and Demurrer evidence filed at court, and this is Demurrer the evidence accused alleged the instigation should be dismissed because the problem is insufficient for the offense charge. So we're saying, okay. So here we go. So they're saying the accused concentrating only in the chosen testimonies of the private complainants during their respective examinations, contended that the witnesses failed to prove the existence of child trafficking as further stated in the Demurrer evidence. There is no overt act of trafficking committed by the accused upon private complainants, so and so and so and so and so and so, for the purpose of prosecuting other forms of exploitation. Okay, so what they're saying is that we just took in our Demurrer, we just took the testimony from our cross-examination, and they're saying from their testimony, when they were interviewing the witness, when they were doing their own questions to the witness, they're saying that they were. And then when we cross-examined, so they're saying that we were only concentrating on our cross-examination. So obviously that's what we're going to focus on. So the position of the accused is without merit. The arguments presented were self-serving and are bereft of weight in the court of law. Yeah, of course it's self-serving. This is my life over here, duh. So accused was charged for violation of blah, blah, blah. And it is the humble submission of hearing public prosecutors the presented evidence for sufficient to prove the existence of every element of the crime charging against accused. So they're saying every element, okay, of the crime charged against the accused. So this is their statement in black and white, saying that every element was proved. And these are the elements. So we go. Number one, the act of recruiting. Number two, the recruiting in exchange for benefits. And number three, and the act of recruiting and the coercion in exchange for benefits, either you threaten them, you abduct them, you force them, and all of that. They're saying this part, the recruiting part, I did. They're saying this part, I coerced them. So this is probably their best argument. They coerced them. And then I did these two things. And number one is for the reason of prostitution. Okay, so the recruitment, transportation, and the harboring of a receive of a child for the purpose of it shall be considered trafficking in persons, even if it does not. Here we go. Here's the funny part that you're gonna. Even if it does not. Even if it does not. Here we go. Let's go to the next page. Involve any means set forth in the first paragraph of section 3A. So even the emphasis upon, even they were saying that this part was being done. He was recruiting them, talking to them, getting to know them. This part was done. He was coercing them, giving them benefits, giving them shopping, giving them food, giving them clothes, giving them school supplies. And they said, okay, this part, he's doing this first two parts is because of prostitution. And here they are saying, okay, 1 and 2 was definitely established. They established that he has a connection with them. Done, check. Number 2, he's established that he's giving them benefits. Check. And number 3, forget about number 3. We don't need to. We just need to do number 2. We already said that we proved every element, but we don't need to prove this element because we don't have any proof of it. Well, let's not focus on this part. The whole part, that's overrated. Why do you need to Why do you need to charge somebody with prostitution that you actually need evidence of prostitution? All you need is that he knew them. He was giving them reasons why that they wanted to hang out with him. And this reason, I don't need this part over here. You just need these two. So all we have to do is prove these two. That means we proved all the elements. Okay, so this is their own comment. Okay, this is from the prosecution. That's them already admitting that we don't have part three over here. Okay, yes, and then yes, that they said that they were prostituted. Okay, but we have these two over here clearly stating, and that this is the only reason why. Okay. Remember, I said if you're Mexican or if you're black, okay, check. And if you're standing in the corner, check. This means you're there in that corner, you have to be selling drugs. And if you're black and if you have girls with you, obviously you're both selling drugs and you're selling prostitutes at the same time. Okay, we don't need to prove this part. All we have to do is prove that you're black and that you're in the corner and that you have girls, and the reason, and why else would you be there? You know, maybe that's me sounding racist, okay? But I'm just saying as an example, so something that people can relate to. If you're Mexican and you're standing in the corner, they automatically, you are guilty of, you're there because you're selling drugs, okay? And that's what we said in our demurrer. Just because mere presence alone does not, like we said over here, what is it we said over here? That mere presence alone is not enough to convict somebody. Capable of two inferences, the presumption is, while the other may become out finding in guilt, because evidence does not fulfill the testimony. Okay. So, back to what I was saying over here. They're even saying here that we're saying presence alone, just because you're in that corner and you're Mexican or you're black, doesn't mean that you're a pimp or doesn't mean you're a drug dealer. Okay, but in this situation, the police is saying, well, yes, you are. Okay. So So here's another one. Blah blah blah. Since the traffic victims are minor children, then you don't need to establish the act. So that's what we're saying. You don't need to say just because he knows them. So it becomes a crime just associating yourself with them. So you don't have to agree. So here's the other. This is still part of their testimony. Okay, it has been held that the fact of sexual intercourse need not have been consummated for recruitment to be said. So I'm like the worst pimp in the world, because usually that's how you break them in, is, you know, when you're a pimp and you're a manager or you're a trafficker, you're supposed to break them in. But you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. It's just that you're being accused is sufficient enough. It is sufficient that the accused has lured them, enticed them, or engaged in transport. That's enough. So there's really no need for any sexual intercourse or any prostitution or any elements of prostitution for that matter. The fact is that he is in some kind of interaction with them. That's good enough. Okay, so over here, it says here, we partially agree with the contention for the defense that the witness, the police of the invitation, has no personal knowledge of the case whatsoever. So let me explain this one. How is it? So this is the police. This statement over here is saying that, yes, we agree that the police has no information, because remember, they were saying that I was selling girls online. Okay, so that they're saying that all this information online is actually owned by me. Okay, and all these things, and they were saying that I am. So what they're saying here is, so when the witness took the stand, they're saying that what they were reading online about me. So if somebody created the blog and then saying that I was a human trafficker, then that's what she was testifying to. That we have these vlogs, we have proof of these vlogs that he's a human trafficker. Okay, so we cross-examine. Okay, what are these sources? Who are these people? And so, I don't know any of these people. I go, did you interview them? Do you have any? Did they have any credibility? And it's like, no. So you're saying all this information about being a human trafficker is just from hearsay? So here's the response. A witness can testify only to those facts which he knows of his own personal knowledge, i.e., which are derived from his own perception. Otherwise, such testimony would be hearsay. So that's what the police is doing. I repeat, they're saying what they said was hearsay. Hearsay. That's what the police. So they got on the court, they got on the witness stand, and they were saying, okay, I read this online, I read that online, that he's this and that. And they even said, yes, we agree. That is all hearsay, which has no, we're saying, they're even saying that, like, okay, we have no knowledge, we have no nothing, we have no information. All the information is from other people that we don't know. So they could be making it up, and there's nothing we could do about it because it's just hearsay. But this is where they're saying, indeed, it has been held that testimony of what one heard a party is not necessarily hearsay. It is admissible as evidence not to show that the statement was true, but that it was fact made. If credible, it may form part of the circumstantial evidence necessary to convict the accused. Okay, so for example, if I create a YouTube channel or I create a Facebook and say that you sell Vietnamese sandwiches, okay, and then the police will say, go on testimony and says, oh, that person sells Vietnamese sandwiches. Well, based on what? How do you know that person sells Vietnamese? Have you ever bought sandwiches from him? No. Did you see him sell sandwiches? No. Then how do you know he sells Vietnamese sandwiches? Well, there's a vlog or there's a YouTube or there's a Facebook that says he sells Vietnamese sandwiches. Okay, but you can't use that as testimony. That's hearsay. No, yes, it's hearsay, but somebody did say it. And just because somebody did say it, I can say I read it. And then if I read it and if it's credible and if it's consistent with what we're trying to accuse that person of, then it must be true and it must be admitted. So that's what they're saying here. So they're saying all this stuff that they're saying online, they have all this stuff that you read online. Anyone says, okay, they're saying must be true. Why? Because I read it. And that's what we're accusing of. So it must be true. So this is what they're writing in their Demurrer, their comment to Demurrer, that if credible, it might be part of the circumstantial evidence necessary to convict the accused. So you can write anything what you want. If the police read it, and if it's it's part of the evidence, then it must be true, and you could convict the person. This is what they're saying, which is no good thing the judge. Or we'll talk about what the judge says. So they're saying all elements required to prove guilt, and I just got through saying that they didn't even prove the part where it says, okay, I recruited them and I coerced them to make vlogs instead of making vlogs. They're saying for prostitution. They're saying we admit, okay, that's not there, but we don't need to prove that. Okay, we're just saying it. And we don't need proof or evidence of it, and it should be, and that's enough element. And because we have people saying that that's what he's doing, and it's not hearsay because it's credible, and because I read it and it's credible, it's enough. They're saying, they're saying it's enough to convict them. So that's how they even have what is it? Look, they even have they even cite actual court casings of it that like, oh, hearsay can be used if it's found credible that somebody said it, and it could be used as evidence. So that's what we're talking about over here. So for the purpose of exposition and the pretext of employment, monitoring for the safety and morals of the children, the consistent and categorical testimonies of the private complainants are worthy of belief, very credible and significant, corroborative of each other directly and correctly when subjected to cross-examination of defense counsel. Essentially, further questioning from the court remains solid and unshaken. It says the facts and even further questioning from the court remain solid and unshaken. Wherefore, it is respectfully prayed that the demurrer to evidence be denied for lack of merit. Okay, so they're saying that's lack of merit. So remember, the police are doing this. Why the police are doing this? We already said why. Because they have, just like the complainants, just like the police, they have financial incentive to do so. They were given a lot of financial incentive, not only financial incentive, job security. I repeat, both financial incentive, because both job security. Because can you imagine if that financial incentive ever got out, what it's going to do to their job security? So this is why they're doing this. Okay, you don't need any evidence. You don't need that. You just need financial evidence. You just need financial incentive for somebody to prosecute you. Now this is what the part where you guys could all say in the comments. So far, nobody has said it right. Where did the financial incentive come from for the police to pursue this case, even though there is no evidence whatsoever? Even they admitted themselves that there is no evidence at all for prosecution, right there in black and white. Okay, We don't need to prove prostitution. We just need to prove that he knew them and that he was coercing them. Then that must be a reason. If a black person is in the corner in South Central, then he must be selling drugs, okay, is what they're saying. I'm not saying that. They're saying that. I'm just creating an example. So that's the comment to Demurrer. Let's get to the resolution. Finally, after, what is it? 2 hours, let's finally get to the resolution. Sorry, my bad. Let's see. Here's a resolution. Let's get to the exciting part. This is page 6 of 8. I'm gonna try to finish this today, okay, and try to upload this. I got a lot of other things. I got a big, huge to-do list. Okay, so this is page 6 of 8. So there was actually 8 pages. But let's get to the court ruling themselves, okay? The court's ruling. Okay, so let's read this. The information here alleges that the accused has presented in the internet, the World Wide Web, so and so and so as prostitutes in an accused online social networking account. The prosecution's evidence on this point consists mainly of 2 sets. This is their evidence. This is their physical evidence that they got from my raid. 2 sets of pictures. The first shows the minors in normal clothes in public places moving about. Normal is, that's what he's saying, normal, black and white. This is the judge now. This is not the prosecution. This is not the defense. This is the judge. Ironically, this is the judge that we were trying to inhibit because we were worried that his decisions were biased. But if you want to check out what that video looks like, there's the motion to inhibition just to kind of set it up that this is what. But this is that judge, that same judge is saying now. Like I said, this judge was under a microscope because there was so much media attention, because I'm such a big deal, because I am so freaking famous, that he had to make sure that this went to his decision, not because of a technicality, not because of any other reasons why. This came to his decision. All evidence had to be admitted. All testimonies had to be admitted. Everything had to be in order for him to make the proper decision, and this was his decision. So it says here, the first shows the minors walking, moving about. The second portrayed lewd pictures, which do not involve any of these minors, as to the latter. Okay, so the second portrayed lewd pictures. Okay, so here we go. So these are the pictures that they included. So here we go, and you guys all familiar who this is, Chai. So just to kind of put it in perspective, the second is lewd pictures, which do not involve any of these complainants. As to the latter, the prosecution is even uncertain that the first set of pictures involving the complainants are intended as part and parcel to the second set to create an image of attracting prurient interest insofar as the minors of the complainants are concerned. Okay? So the prosecution can't even make the connection between the 2 sets. Okay? They were making the connection to Chai's pictures and to these complainants. Obviously, I have no problem with Chai. I'd like to think that Chai and I still have a pretty good civil relationship, that I could have a coffee with her at any time, I'd like to think. And they're trying to make the connection between these complainants, okay? And the judge is saying that as intended, so he's saying as the latter, the prosecution isn't even uncertain that the first set involving that. Remember, that's why I keep bringing up about the money. I keep bringing up the financial incentive, why they need to do this, okay? Why they need to make sure that the complainants are there, why they needed all this evidence to be admitted, because they had financial incentive and they had job security incentive, okay? So he's saying, like, they could make the connection because there is no connection, okay? The connection is still just all about the money, okay? And I should grab that. It's all because of this number right here. Okay, you see this number? Almost a $500,000. That's a $500,000 pesos. That's a $500,000 reasons why this, if this a number ever gets out, okay, that this was their financial incentive and this was their job security, and if this ever gets out, that their job security would be jeopardized because of this number right here. And I have this document in hand, And it's a very dangerous document because of their job security and because this was their financial incentive to do this. But anyway, I digress. I just wanted to show you the number. That's what's great about a number in black and white. You cannot argue with it. You cannot shout at it. You cannot threaten it. It will not change. The number is still there. Okay, so for all you people that are wondering, okay, there's no connection, why? It always goes back to this, okay? Remember, here in the Philippines, it's not a scam. It's a way of life. That's just the reality of it. Either you accept it or you don't, but this is something that you cannot deny. So let's go back to the information further. So let's go back to the court's ruling. Okay, this is the judge's decision. Okay, this was very nerve-wracking for me. I remember I was reading this for the first time. When I was reading it, I was like looking through the pages, the first 6 pages. I'm going, what the hell is going on? Because it was just summarizing all the events that happened in that. For the prosecution, it was all about the prosecution. There was nothing from the defense because we did this demurrer. So it was kind of scary. I was reading the first 6 pages, and then finally I go, okay, finally here I'm here. The court's ruling. So the information further asserts that in commission of the offense, the accused used cyberspace, the internet, peddling or offering the minor victim services for sex to the accused customers in exchange for money. The prosecution is sorely lacking evidence on this point. While it has presented voluminous proofs to show, I mean, they took my whole house to the judge to say, okay, this is everything in his house. Okay, so one of them's got to stick to the accused extensive use of the internet. So presented voluminous proof that I used extensive use of the internet. So all of a sudden, using the internet is a crime, including the display of girls or women. There is nothing, including the display of girls or women. So the display of girls or women. Okay, there is nothing in the testimony of the police officers to this effect. In fact, the prosecution, their main witness, the main police, had described her evidence as leading to trafficking by her interpretation. By her interpretation, it's leading to trafficking as an interpretation. We're not even talking about evidence over here. So you have a bunch of evidence. Like I said, my Korean dry cleaning receipt. Oh, this is the receipt that will lead to trafficking because he needs his dry cleaning done, and then he'll just use the girls to make payment as an exchange for his dry cleaning. So that means it's leading to trafficking. Okay, so this is the judge saying, okay, prosecution, this is your witness, and she's saying this is just this evidence. Okay, it's not evidence to trafficking, but it's leading to trafficking by the interpretation. Okay. Let's go. Let's step back here. The court may tend to agree with her. So the court agrees with her. The actuations of the accused of associating with girls of minor age, maintaining internet accounts with unsavory content, and even establishing beyond border connections with foreigners all point to say the least something sinister that might be constituted a crime of anti-trafficking. No one can deny that his activities are not wholesome. Okay, no one can deny that. He just say, I agree. There's something going on over here. His activities, he's using the internet, he's in a relationship with these girls, fine. Okay, they're not wholesome. There's something going on. However, until it reaches that point, shown by concrete evidence, only suspicion. Here we go. Suspicion, then only suspicion. So your only suspicion, that's your only evidence. It's like your only suspicion. Only suspicion may be excited from one's mind. Okay, see, excited. See, we all want to get excited. We want to feel something, okay? And we need something to get excited about. Why not you, BebotsOnly, okay? I do understand. It's natural. I would get excited also. But only suspicion may be excited from one's mind. This is the judge. This is the one that had years, and not you, okay? You don't have his experience. You didn't go to school. You didn't go to training. You didn't go through years and years of experience of crimes and litigation. And this person was he was a judge. He's had decades and decades of hearing cases, and he knows the law because that's what he practices every day. A judge, okay? Who's the judge? This is the judge. Who made you judge? This person was appointed as judge, okay? And he says, as judge, then only suspicion may be excited from one's mind. It must remember that suspicion no matter how strong. Okay, this is as strong as the Hulk Buster gets strong. And suspicion, it's like you could have the strongest suspicion. You could be like Mrs. Kravitz from Bewitched, and you have this suspicion that your next door neighbor, Samantha Stevens, is a witch. Okay, you have the biggest suspicion. Okay, you could have that suspicion no matter how strong it is. You could have that kind of strong suspicion. Okay, like as strong as Tony Stark's Hulkbuster Iron Man suit. It could be that strong. Your suspicion could be that strong. However, must never, in black and white, must never, okay? Suspicion, no matter how strong, must never sway judgment. It does not say what it is. Suspicion. It is pivotal in criminal cases. Evidence for the prosecution is evaluated against the required quantum of evidence in criminal cases. I repeat, okay? It is pivotal for the prosecution against required evidence, okay? Evidence, not suspicion, okay? Not suspicion. And we all know why. Because of their financial incentive, okay? People over here will scam, lie, accuse you of anything over money. That's common knowledge. Okay, like I said, so all this is because of that financial. The thrust of the prosecutor's theory is the accused is engaged in. The thrust of the prosecutor's theory is that the accused is engaged in prostitution. That he's offering minors to render sexual. Okay, the thrust. So they're saying this is the main meat, the main emphasis, the main idea, the main story here, the main theory. The prosecution, the accused. They're saying that I engaged in prostitution. They're not offering these minors for sexual services to others. Insofar as the anti-trafficking laws are concerned, prostitution refers to the act of transaction scheme involving the use of a person of another sexual intercourse or relative say for money or consideration. Okay, so what did they testify about? So I'm gonna go ahead and go ahead and let you guys have fun with this, all right? So let's go ahead. So what was their testimony about? He says, well, so they testified if they were prostituted, and then what did they testify about? Well, he says what appears on record here is the sexual pursuit of the accused, not to the offer of use of the minors by another, but by himself. So-and-so told the accused of using his foot to touch her thigh. This is, remember there was a video of her touching my foot. We were playing footsies. Remember there was like a video where like something was like hitting my leg. Something under the table was hitting my leg, and it was consistently. It wasn't just an accidental. Somebody was doing it on purpose, hitting my leg, and I'm like going, what in the world? They even took the video, and she's like going, oh, because I thought it was the leg of the table. Why would you be kicking the leg of the table consistently like that? So that was kind of, so she brought that up that on video we were I was hitting her leg when obviously in video it was her hitting my leg. So the accused, I was touching her foot, but it was caught in video that she was the one touching my foot, and she's the one. She said sorry because she thought she was hitting the leg of the. And I said, huh? And then so and so said the accused had asked her for sex. Okay, so indeed the claims of these minors witnesses are then true, then the accused may be held liable for other crimes, but certainly not for human trafficking. Okay, certainly not for that. So that's what they came and testified for. So when they were doing the testimony, they're like, okay, so the footsies, and it's okay that I asked them, all right. So maybe you can interpret that. Remember when the Hawaiians would say, don't ask me for money, I won't ask you for sex. Remember that's a rule, because giving money to these girls is like giving them a loaded gun. You don't know, they're but we won't get into that. But that's what their testimony was, okay? And we said, so what? Okay, so what? Go ahead, So at least the best. So we knew when we did this. So what? When we did the Demurrer, they're like, okay, their testimony is one thing, but we were being accused of the other thing, and they were making the connection. And the reason why they wanted to make the connection is they wanted to make sure I never get out because of their job security and financial incentive. To be sure that he may be contented that what the accused did to the three minors were prelude to him offering their sexual services to others, utilizing the internet as it seems plausible under circumstances, with the accused apparently being shown to deeply be involved in maintaining blogs with scantily dressed women. But there is no evidence here adduced, and until then, the contention, while consistent with profiling, merely means a supposition. So basically, what he's saying is it's a suspicion. But there is no evidence here adduced. Until then, contention, while consistent with profiling, you're just profiling. It just means merely a supposition. You're just okay. This is a probability. This is something that might possibly happen. Then you're just profiling. Then, okay. So that's what he's saying. That's what the judge is saying. Okay, that's what you're accusing him of. That's what you're profiling him of. Just like you're profiling a black person or a Mexican standing in the corner. You still have to arrest, you still have to have evidence that they have drugs on them or that they're actually selling drugs. Okay, you can't just arrest somebody because they were black or they were in the corner, even though it's common over there, or if they're Mexican and they're in East LA and they're in the corner. You can't just arrest them for that. You have to actually have drugs on them as evidence. And if they're not, you have to let them go. Under the equipoise rule, if the evidence admits two interpretations, one is consistent with guilt and the other with innocence, okay, I can interpret it as he's guilty, or I can interpret it as he's innocent. The accused must be given the benefit of the doubt and should be acquitted. Here, at least insofar as the crime charged in the information. Okay. Under the rule, okay, this is the rule. We all have to abide by this rule. No one is above this rule. If the evidence admits two interpretations, one is consistent with guilt, the other one innocence, the accused must be given. So you are allowed to interpret that I'm guilty of a crime. You just can't be cyber libel about it. Or you could be guilty of a crime yourself. Of the doubt should be acquitted. Okay, or I could be given the doubt. They're both just as correct because they're just both interpretations. Here, at least so far as crime charges, the following is an instrument commission of the act of the crime, punishable. So this is actual. So he cited a case. He referenced an actual case. Okay, the preference of a crime's elements was established by the prosecution witnesses who testified during the trial. The young victims themselves testified in their respective ages, which is now they were lured by this person here, by Harang to participate in the latter's illicit structure. Harang recruited the girls to become victims of sexual abuse and exploitation, mainly upon promise of financial benefit. The girls agreed and thus joined them on June 27, 2000, in meeting with the Korean customers in search for prostitutes. Police authorities personally witnessed Harang's unlawful activity as they conducted the entrapment operations. And here it is. Finally, here's the signature, and then here's this decision. So here it is. After I covered it up in the first in the initial vlogs, and finally here it is. Okay, so arrest him after Harang transacted with the supposed customers and received payments therefore. So this is a classic case of human trafficking. So after citing that, here it is. Here's his decision. Wherefore, in view of the foregoing, the demurrer to evidence filed by the accused is hereby granted, and the action is hereby dismissed for insufficiency of evidence. Wow, when I read that, I was so relieved. It was just like this big, huge ton of heavy burden lifted off my shoulders and lifted off my chest, and I could finally breathe again. And this was just round one. Okay, round two is somewhere down there, but this was just round one. Dismissed for insufficient evidence. So now we were going. So this was the case based on the raid. It's a search warrant on my house. Now we got to go to the entrapment is round two. And then the other one with the Department of Justice is round three. Okay, but this was the linchpin, which was like, what is going on over here? You know, is this really happening? You know, am I really going to be convicted of something that I am not, that I didn't do? And then, you know, an innocent person is waiting in jail and with the rest of the harsh environment of a third world locked up abroad prison. So ordered by the judge, presiding judge, and I just kind of left his signature there. So let's go back to the example of what the judge said. This is what we have. We got to recruit the girls, and clearly okay, so you're going to be prostituted. So you're gonna have sex with these guys, these Korean customers, in exchange for money. And the girls agreed to go, yay! And then the customers showed up, and the customer said, yay! And then the police showed up, and then they just kind of ruined the yay, and now all of a sudden, right? So this didn't happen. You know why? Because like I said, I don't deal with prostitutes, okay? You know, I can make friends. and which is not illegal, okay, and there is no age limit about which friends you could be with. I mean, for now, I don't know what the latest is, but for during this time, I mean, the age of consent is 12. Okay, so you could become friends with somebody below 18. Okay, and there's no law against being friends. Okay, so I could together with my friends, and you get together with your friends, and your friends can get together with my friends, and then we can all be friends. There's nothing illegal about that. I mean, I've always kind of said, remember in my first generation, when I asked the girls, why are you making this video? Well, I'm here to make friends, okay? Because that's all you can do with the dalaga is make friends. You can't make them into a prostitute. Nobody can make them into a prostitute. They can make themselves into a prostitute, but that doesn't make me a human trafficker, okay? That's on them, all right? But for me, I'm just making friends. I just make the connection. Well, what's the connection? Me. What they do with each other after that? They get married. They go off. They go off on some island. They go off on whatever they want to do. They want to spend Christmas together. They want to spend New Year's together. They want to go to a resort together. I have nothing. I can't make them do that. If that's something they want to do, I can't stop them. And there's nothing illegal about that. Okay. I'm not here to say, okay, where's the girls? I got customers. I got something like that. No. It's like, hey, we're gonna be doing this. We're gonna be hanging out. I got friends visiting. We're gonna be at the mall. You want to hang out at the mall? Hang out at the mall. We'll hang out, eat. Fine. Okay. I don't talk about sex for money or anything like that. What they want to do with you, what they want to do with me, what they want to do with each other. That's on because we're dealing with dalagas, not prostitutes. That's just all that's just all things that they want to do, and that's what makes this so scary, is because the girls are doing what they want to do, not because they're forced into it. It's because that's what they want. Okay, see, the biggest problem over here, that what I keep running into, is like, there must be a reason the girls must be getting paid, because that's the only reason why they be hanging out with you, and the other, because they can't think of any other reason. Maybe because it's cool to hang out with me. It's cool to be eating. It's cool to be having clothes. It's cool to be. They can't be thinking of anything else. Okay, like I said, I don't give them money outside of the fact, I'll give them fare for their tricycle. All right, and that's only like $2 or $3. Okay, it's not like the hundreds or thousands of dollars that they normally would be asking for in a scam. Okay, but that money is just goes straight from their hand to straight to the tricycle driver, like I said. But for the most part, it's like I don't give them any money. Okay. So what they, like I said, if they want to meet with you, they'll meet with you. But that's up to them. Based on what? Based on because they like hanging out with me. They like being with me. Why? Right? Is that a crime? See, that's where it's kind of left to interpretation. If it's a crime for you, it's a crime for them, then it's not. If it has to be left for interpretation, then it's not a crime. This is the stuff that I can't talk about, and then I can't take the stand and sit here and make the statement. I can make the statement because this is just a vlog. I can say whatever I want. This is not, if you're in a court of law and you have to take the stand, you have a witness or like that, then. But anyway, it's already been decided. This judge has decided, okay, in view of the foregoing, so like I said, I would never offer somebody because because you can't only offer you can only do that with a prostitute. And like I said, I don't deal with prostitutes. Okay, the girls that I deal with are dalagas, and dalagas are not prostitutes. Then why? Then you have to ask the question why. Then you go back to that number, the 500,000 reasons why. Okay. So this is just kind of a prelude, so just to kind of give you an example of. I'll go into more details. I have more testimony. It gets even funnier, or it even gets more bizarre with the other cases, the other testimony that we have for round two. This is just round one, but this round one was the scariest because I don't really know how. Like I said, it's the interpretation. What is the interpretation is going to be? As much as you would like to interpret the evidence or the testimony as guilty, okay, a person could just as interpret it just as well as innocent. And if that's the case, you have to follow the law, that the interpretation that somebody has to be given a benefit of the doubt. It's like, no, you're not innocent. Okay, who's innocent? No, you're not innocent either. Let he who has not sinned cast the first stone. But as far as this judge is concerned, I was accused of peddling or offering these girls on the internet in exchange for sex as prostitutes. And this judge says there is no evidence whatsoever of that after the prosecution has rested, after the police have testified, after the complainants have testified. There is no evidence of this accusation. And therefore, in view of the foregoing, Demurrer is accused, Demurrer is there. So what? And he said, what's up is that there is no evidence for any of this. And even if anything they said was true, okay, everything they say, he did use the internet. He did talk to these girls. He did have a relationship. He did all those things. I did play footsie with them. I did ask them for that. He said, we say, yes, all that is true. Even with all those things that are true, everything that they raided in my house was all from my, they said it's all from my house. Everything, that, all their suspicion, even their hearsay is all true. Let's say it's just hearsay. Some blogger made that up and say, oh, this person's a human trafficker. Who's that person? Oh, I don't know that person. He just said it online. Well, then it must be true because that's what we're accusing of him. That's why he's here. Even if we're saying we admit, we'll just say, we'll accept that. That's all true. That is still not evidence to human trafficking. Okay? So suspicion is not evidence. Remember, innuendos is not evidence. Rumors is not evidence. Gut feeling is not evidence. Okay? Then go find the evidence. Well, what do you want to do? They have all my computers. They have all my hard drives. They have all my memory cards. They have all the gadgets, my cell phones and everything. Okay, and even after all that, and even after the judge allowed it, even if there was no search warrant for, the law clearly states that you need a search warrant to open and analyze the all digital gadgets, a search warrant for that, but all the fruits of that search have been tarnished. Okay, but it was still allowed. That's why we inhibited him. But he was still a judge. He still followed the letter of the law. That all you're saying is still not evidence to back up the evidence needed to back up the statement for a guilty conviction. Therefore, the demurrer to evidence has been filed. Okay, and here we go. I'm in such a good mood. I'm gonna do a bunch of other vlogs, but after this vlog, I will dive into this number, this 500,000 number. Okay, I know all of you have been asking, or have been thinking, or probably not, but probably in passing, that you were thinking, where did that money come from? Where did that money go? I've already said, I've given a bunch of clues already. I've already kind of alluded to it. I've already kind of referenced to it about the police, about their activities, about their methods. Okay, this is the cybercrime police. Okay, so they're experts in cybercrime. Okay, so if an expert in cybercrime, in preventing cybercrime, so they know exactly what to do and how to prevent it. So here we go, we have cybercrime. So this is the cybercrime police and they have this 500,000 pesos. How easy is it for them to get this 500,000 pesos? Now I haven't divulged, I haven't said anything, but I'm giving you guys a bunch of clues on where the money came from. And I've already told you, it all came from somebody that all of you know already. If you're watching this vlog, you know exactly who this person is. But if your problem is if your mind is so jaded that you can't even see the answer right in front of you. It's like your nose. It's so close you can't see it. But what I will do is the next vlog concerning my cases will be about that financial incentive. Okay. So what we have to do now is for everybody who's watching this, please set this up. Let me set this up in the comments where you think, go on record where you believe the money came from. Okay. Where do you believe, who do you think the money came from, so you know why the police are doing this, okay? Because if this ever come out where the money came from, then they would lose their jobs, okay? And remember, a scared police is a dangerous police, okay? Especially if they're going to lose their job, they're going to lose their benefits, okay? And all of you knowing this, put you guys in there, because this kind of information is dangerous also. But I would like to believe that the pen is mightier than the sword, that the blog is mightier than the gun, that I will survive just like I have been doing, okay? Because I'm a survivor. And that's what scares people. I'm a fighter and I'm a survivor. Okay, and that's probably what draws people, maybe just a few people. I can understand why people are scared. I'm scared also. I don't know what's going to happen to me and what's going to happen to my family when this information comes out. But the truth cannot be, eventually it'll come out. The truth cannot be quieted, it cannot be concealed, it cannot be suppressed. Okay, the truth is going to come out. So the truth about the police in this scenario, in this situation, like I said, the disclaimer, not all police are like this, not all police are bad. But as you could see, even in light of current events, okay, this rush to judgment of the police, okay, where there's smoke, there's fire, and we have to find that fire right away so we can make a name for ourselves, so we can add some notches on our belt, just like with this the Sarah case, the stewardess. This rush to judgment. I mean, clearly there's no evidence of rape, there's no evidence of homicide, but we got 311 people that have been through just like me, that have been through the mud. Their names have been in the mud. They're like rapists. They're just simple gay people having a party, drinking, doing little drugs, and not harming anybody. That's what they do in Denmark or some of these other uh, some countries where they allow drugs. So why, right? Why is the police? Why are they doing this? So they could add a notch to their belt. Well, here in this situation, they had financial incentive and they have job security reasons, and I just got caught in it, and what's even more tragic here is that innocent people, and not just me, the girls have become, I think they become victims of this also, because the police saw an opportunity with a person that has access to money, that has a lot of money, and they wanted to take advantage of it, and that's what they did. They're not thinking of the future. They're not thinking of what's going to happen, what are the consequences of their actions, because they're not thinking of tomorrow. They're only thinking of the now. Even the police, even the Philippine National Police is involved in this case. We're just thinking of the now, okay? So it's not just the girls. It's not just it's everyone, especially in the police. And this is how dangerous, and this is how far they're willing to go, okay, just because they needed money at that moment, okay? And what's really going to be tragic about this is there is a death. Usually when you get in conflict with police, there is somebody that's going to die, okay? And who that person that died, I will tell you, it's coming up. So there is death, there is money, there is whatever. I mean, this idea of, so we got sex, money, corruption, death, murder. So there is even murder in this situation. Fortunately, it's not me or my families, because we're, for the grace of God that I'm alive. Okay, it's hard for you to appreciate because you're just watching the vlog. But if you're going through it like this, it's just there's not a day go by that I thank God that I'm alive, and that I'm with my family, and that I'm here vlogging and I'm able to tell my side of the story. And I thank God every day that I could still do that. But not everybody that's involved in this case can say that, because that person is dead. And that person, you might say that I might be dancing on his grave. And I'll probably admit, yeah, I'm dancing on his grave, because he deserves for me to dance on his grave for what has been done to me and my family. I mean, you could do whatever you want, but to do that to my family, to do the search warrant on my family, I mean, they were the ones, and then they had to face the public. And then the worst is, like I said, when you're in your deepest, darkest moments, this is when you realize who your friends are and who you're, and to me, this is a journey I had to, for myself. And then this is where you find out that we didn't have any friends, or we thought we did, but we didn't. So we don't have any friends. And I'll have examples of my wife was saying, oh, so and our neighbor this, or our friend this, like, they're mad at you because of all the things that they read on the internet as hearsay. They're believing it as fact because you're in jail, and you're and the police, because I'm in jail. So everything that must be that all the friends and neighbors that they read on the internet about me must be true, because I'm in jail. And what about now that I'm not? So are you gonna say, oh, because you're an asshole, that's why you believed all those things about me when that you were in jail? You were really instead of a friend, you were actually a frenemy. You're actually a backstabber. So that's what we really have. I mean, I'm sure there are other vloggers that had fun on my expense, and so that's what they really are. So can we clearly say that these people are assholes for making fun of me on my expense without waiting for the actual evidence to come out? And here we are. The judge made the decision based on the evidence that there is no evidence for all these things that people that are accused of me. That's why I'm not guilty. Therefore, I didn't even need to put up a defense. So you understand that? So of course, the trolls, the haters, the insecure hypocrites are not going to be watching this because they don't want to know the truth. And let them keep living in their bubble, all right? And there's a lot of people that are living in that same bubble also. I'm not here. This blog is not here, or this information is not here to burst that bubble. This vlog right here is here to share the truth, to share my experience and the truth about my experience, the reality about my experience. And if the cliche is true about the truth, then let the truth set you free. And if you used to be a hater and you're not a hater anymore, you know, this is your path to enlightenment. This is your path to self-discovery, okay? Because there is more to life. You can have a better life and you can get more out of life, and you could be a happier person if you embrace the truth. Okay, I'm not a big believer in one of these, the what you don't know won't hurt you, because in this situation it hurt me a lot, okay? And I'm sharing this with you so the truth will make sure that you don't get hurt a lot like me. And I don't want anybody else to go through this. I wouldn't wish this upon my enemies, even my most hated trolls, even these other people that are saying all these things about me on their own channels. So they must be so they should be losing face now that they accused me of something that I'm clearly innocent of. And the reason why I'm innocent, because this judge has declared it. They are not the judge. This is the judge that declared it. And this is just one of many judges that declared that I am innocent, that there is no proof to any of the accusations that have been the most heinous crimes that anybody can ever think of. Okay? Anyway, so that should finish the vlog. If you have any questions or comments, I should be doing a live stream discussing the merits of this certain case, of this Demurrer. This basically summed up the first case, the first year and a half of the 3 years. So the first half of my journey through Inferno. Okay, so I cleared up a lot of light. I read one of the resolutions. So the remaining question is, okay, so this is kind of like, so the other cases are going to be similar to this, but of course this one is, the next one is going to be about that night where I was arrested, where everybody got a chance to look at my hair and my underwear. So let's talk about that. Oh, well, but before we talk about, so that will be next, and it's going to be a lot funnier than this one. I mean, it's not funny, it's tragic, but tragic is funny, it's comedy. Pain is funny, so the more painful it is, I guess the more funnier it could be. But anyway, it's past, so let's move on. My next is going to be, now that I've set it up, that I've established my innocence in this case. So, okay, so if anybody had any doubt before, now there's no doubt that the judge has decided that I was innocent. There was no evidence whatsoever of what, even after the search warrant, even after I was arrested. And even after he allowed, even there was no search warrant to open and analyze my gadgets. Even all that was admitted. There still wasn't any evidence. So now so what I'm going to do, the next thing to do would be to go into why. Then why, if there's no evidence, why are they pursuing this like there's no tomorrow? Because of the financial incentive. And if they had ever got out, they would be in trouble in terms of their job, because what they did was illegal. Anyway, would that put me in danger, me and my family in danger? Absolutely. Okay, and you knowing it is in danger, but this is the truth. And like I said, the truth is to set you free. So let us know in the comments where you think the money came from. Okay, and so this is the time to take your position. Okay, there's a lot of theories out there, and most of them are dead wrong, but they're your theories and your opinions, and be careful what you say, because it's going to make you look like an asshole if you're completely wrong. If you thought it came from this, or if you thought it came from that, and it didn't come from them, what's it going to make you look like? So just be careful what you say, because if you say, if you're wrong and you're clearly stating what kind of asshole you are, then that might be a good time to self-discovery, to learn what kind of asshole you are. And that's the first step to stop being an asshole, because life is too short and life is much better if you're not. Anyway, this is BebotsOnly sharing his experience. I hope you learned a lot. Hope you learned a lot about me. I definitely learned a lot about this experience, and I have more to share so we all can benefit. So like I said, give it a like, give it a comment, give it a subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next vlog. Thanks for watching. Okay, after hours and hours of vlogging, well, that was like 2.5 hours of vlogging, and then I have to do another 2.5, 3 hours of editing it. Time for, I started like at 8 o'clock, and it's like 1 or 2 o'clock, time for lunch, and we're having baked chicken. So check out how it's got vegetables and potatoes. So let's take a look. So this beats prison food any day of the week, hands down. Twice on Sunday. Everything when you lost your freedom and you get your freedom back, everything tastes delicious. I mean, it's delicious already, but extra delicious. Oh, my camera's fogging up.
Pagkatingin ka sa harap, nandun na sa harap niya yung bola.
Gawin niya pag malapit na yung bola sa kanya. Huwag mo munang i-jinx. Diretso na ito.
Tatto namin. Hindi pa sure. Kasi, walang parang...
Aapat naman kayo, di ba? Aapat naman kayong team.
Baka mahirapan ka mamaya. Pag kinutkot mo yan, pag susugat, sasakit ang paa mo. Hindi ko mo kasi paano.
Nag-goal sa kabila. Na-injured kahapon. Wala siya ngayon. Ay, nandito siya.
Napagdaan mo nga dun, sabi ko, sir. Sino yan?
Kami ni, ay daddy ni Ian.
Nasaan?
Baka nanood lang.
namin to shotgun.
Sino yung top 3? Sino yung top 3? Top 3. Pasok tayo! Angat na yung Black Lion. Kaya, gusto kami. Sinong pangalawa? Sinong panguna sa kabilang bracket? Letran. Letran. Makakalaban namin yan. Bakit ka muna ba? Tagon? Dapat kayo napaglaban sa finals. End sa service. Laban sa service yan. Gusto pa. Nakago.
Meron pa silang ano. Hype pa rin sila, hype. Kala ko. Naku, nahulog pa? Ito na. Pisa. Huwag diretso mo na. Nag-goal sa kabila. Taas. Tulog. Ay, nasa piso. May 5 piso ka sa ano, sa side. Sa side.
Nasa Euro.
Tingnan mo doon, baka nahulog.
Baka nandun. Robin, yung mga gamit namin eh.
Hanapin mo baka. Libo-libo pa naman ang pera mo.
Kaya ba si Charles Lotto?
Hindi ko alam ko. Coach nila. Coach na yun? Ayun o.
Miss Jam. Si Mari. Adidan.
Di
ganong mga nanonood dun, no? Yung nakagitna. Bawal yun. Ay! Oo, bawal dapat yun.
Siguro na siya. Bagal kasi bumabasa.
Ano nangyari? Ba't nasaya mo? Yan, 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 yan. O, bigay mo na, bigay mo. Keeper, keeper! Ba't napagalitan si ano? Si Ray?
Kaya natin nakapasta yung page na.
Ang top 2 ata yun yung
Ewan.
top 1. Ano yung nakalaban natin?
Yung una.
Nice one!
Ay, sayang.
Si Kuya Jello, Zoe.
Yung ano ba yung ano, yung pinapalo ako yung PPT ko. Di ba? Hawak na yun ang keeper.
Hindi, ito, di ba tumama sa ano?
Oo.
Left.
Ginawa kaya, ginadyo ko ginaas ko, kaya di na.
Bila, anong referee, ang dami nakaharang eh.
Tapos ano yung isa sa kanila, ginanit ko na ako.
Yayayasan ka.
Iwan-iwanit ko. Ay, yung pag ano nga yung pinapalo ko, ginaganito, ibig ko ba dyan sa akin?
Black Lions daw. Black Lions yan? Orange yan eh. Black coat. Eh, yung black coat.
Naway na ang pasa.
Ay, dito lang, Robin.
Tayo na sunod na. Ang lakas na nga na sigaw ko ah.
Wala daw po makita eh. Dapat sabi si ako. Dapat kasi ako.
Kaya nakalaban nyo, ano? Kulay ako rin. Oh, God.
Time. Champa goal.
Na ano lang na. Kayo talaga. Follow up yun. Champa.
Go referee! Go Thompson!
ano, si Ray. Ray pala.
Nasaan si ano?
Baba.
Medyo ata tayo dun. Sabi ni Godson, dito ba tayo? Saan dun ba? Coach Casey!
Ay, ball! Nasaan ang ball? Dalawang laban ng mga pangalan.